Chapter 1097. What's wrong? Seeing this, Tongning immediately ran over to his side. She watched as he bent over and picked up the baby. Whose child is this? Mo Ting shook his head and looked around. He did not see anyone suspicious, so he concluded that the baby was an abandoned child. Let's take her to the hospital first. I'll ask Wuxia to get in touch with the cinema's surveillance cameras and find the child's parents. Okay. The couple quickly rushed the child to a nearby hospital. After the doctor's timely rescue, the child's life wasn't in danger, but there were other problems. Sir, this child doesn't seem to have any birth defects, but there are a lot of injuries on her body. It seems she's been beaten up a lot. Are you sure this isn't your child? Seeing this, Mo Ting removed his scarf and revealed his identity. I found this child beside my car. After seeing Mo Ting's identity, the doctor did not ask any further. After all, everyone knew that Mo Ting had 2 sons and a daughter. So, the child's identity was still up for investigation. Of course, if the man was Mo Ting, then the woman behind him would naturally be Tongning. Due to Mo Ting's authority, the doctor did not announce their visit. After confirming that the child had recovered, he said to the couple, "Since this isn't your child, I suggest you call the police and let them handle it. That's the best way to handle it." Tongning looked at the little girl lying on the hospital bed. She was only a little older than Yan Er. She wondered how heartless a mother would be to abandon her own child. Meanwhile, Wuxia retrieved the surveillance footage from the cinema's parking lot. President, according to the footage, we discovered that the person that left the child beside your car was the supermodel Liang Yongyu, the model that's been in a relationship with a rich businessman. Contact her manager and tell her to come pick up the child, Mo Ting instructed. Okay, President. Seeing that Mo Ting had already contacted the child's parents, the doctor did not say anything else. Mo Ting did not send the child to the police station either. Otherwise, the newspapers would be in an uproar the next day. So the couple temporarily returned to Hyatt Regency with the child. About an hour later, Wuxia arrived at Hyatt Regency with Liang Yongyu. He then carried the child to her. Your status in the industry isn't low. Why can't you afford to raise a child? Liang Yongyu was only in her early 20s, but she still looked young and inexperienced. As soon as she saw the child, she placed her hand on his face guiltily. Assistant Liu, you have no idea, but I gave birth to 2 children for that man. But they're both daughters. You know, those rich businessmen all want their sons to inherit the family business. So because I gave birth to 2 daughters in a row, I don't even have a title. That's fine, but that scum actually abused my daughters. I had no choice but to bring my daughter out when he was on a business trip. I had no choice but to take her with me while he was on a business trip. With this thought, the female model directly knelt on the floor and begged, Assistant Liu, can I beg you to adopt my daughter? Liang Yongyu, I can to you. With. After all, there were too many people in the industry that knew how to put on an act. I'm begging you. I'm begging Tongning. I'm begging President Mo. I saw President Mo's car today and recognized it. That's why I left my daughter beside his car. I can give you money. I simply want my child to live a safe and sound life. Liang Yongyu's tear-stained face was moving. But Wuxia understood one thing. In the industry, the prettier a person was, the more vicious they were. So, even though Long Jia had once been bullied because of her gender, Wuxia couldn't be easily fooled. Afterwards, Wuxia relayed Liang Yongyu's words to Mo Ting and Tongning. President, madam, that's what happened. She married a rich businessman, but was asked to have a child first. Only by having a son can she enter a wealthy family? Tongning shook her head helplessly. Every woman wants a long-term meal ticket. That's why they waste their youth and pride. This Liang Yongyu's words are full of loopholes. Go and reject her, Mo Ting said. She chose the rules of the game herself. Yes, President. After receiving his instructions, Wuxia left Hyatt Regency. At this time, Tongning had a complicated expression on her face. Her instincts told her that the situation wasn't as simple as it seemed. What if it's true? Tongning suddenly asked. Then, the child will either be tortured to death or stolen by Liang Yongyu and freeze to death. Why should the child take responsibility for the adult's mistakes? After speaking, Tongning turned and looked at the 3 children in the nursery. Everyone has their own fate, and they have to bear the consequences. Go have a bath and get some rest, Emoting comforted. It wasn't that Tongning was a saint. This was a feeling that only someone with a child would understand. Of course, if everyone came looking for her when they were in trouble, she wouldn't be able to worry about them all even if she had 10 hearts. Lu Che quickly relayed the couple's words to Liang Yongyu. Since you gave birth to the child, you have the responsibility to take good care of it. No matter what your situation is, it's irresponsible for you to leave the child by the side of the car. I'm sorry, but it's not appropriate for the president and madam to interfere with other people's family matters. Please leave. After hearing this, Liang Yongyu looked at Lu Che in despair. She once again knelt in front of Lu Che. I know I'm young and inexperienced and I made a mistake, but the child is innocent. If that person finds her, she'll definitely die. I beg of you. Why don't you look for someone else? No one is willing to help me. Liang Yongyu burst into tears. I beg of you. How can you expect someone else to take care of the child that you gave birth to? Lu Che asked calmly. This is a life, not a cat or a dog. This isn't a vegetable on the streets. This is a living person. How can someone agree to this? Miss Liang, please don't force me. Please reconsider. I beg of you. Lu Che shook his head. You can give up everything and run away with your daughter. But, you're greedy for what you have right now and want someone else to take care of your daughter for you. Don't you think that's too much? Miss Liang, please leave. Lu Che rejected Liang Yongyu decisively. Lu Che decisively rejected Liang Yongyu. Even though his heart ached for the child, it wasn't something that he could help just because he had good intentions. Seeing that she couldn't beg Lu Che, Liang Yongyu had no choice but to leave in despair with her daughter in her arms. But just as Tongning expected, she placed the child somewhere else and tried to find someone to take care of her. Chapter 1098. Lu Che followed Liang Yongyu the entire time and watched as she abandoned the child. So he waited for 3 hours, but Liang Yongyu did not return. In the end, Lu Che had no choice but to follow Tongning's instructions and carry the child back to Hyatt Regency. We don't meet the criteria to adopt, so we need to find a good family for the child. Of course, we need to first verify that everything Liang Yongyu says is true. Otherwise, return the child to the father. Tongning instructed Lu Che carefully. Yes, madam. Also, we can't let Liang Yongyu know about this. That's natural. Of course, Tongning had no idea that this incident had planted a seed of hatred in Liang Yongyu's heart. To Tongning, she saved the child. But to Liang Yongyu, Tongning was the one who did nothing to save the child. As a result, Liang Yongyu had no choice but to abandon the child. Speaking of Liang Yongyu, everyone in the entertainment industry knew that she came from a beauty pageant and gained fame with a single dance at a banquet. As a result, she caught the eye of the heir of a diamond kingdom and became his mistress. Who would have thought, the story of a gifted scholar and a beautiful woman was actually bound by the shackles of the world. A wealthy family, of course, had more fights. And a son was the easiest tool for a woman to gain a foothold in. Liang Yongyu took a huge risk to give birth to 2 children for the heir of a diamond kingdom. But because they were daughters, she ended up being despised. After Lu Che's investigation, he discovered that the Zhai family from the Diamond Kingdom were indeed interested in men. Liang Yongyu did indeed give birth to a daughter, but she died before she was even half a year old. From this, it seemed, Liang Yongyu wasn't lying. Only those that experienced it would know how deep the waters of the rich and powerful were. One day after the incident, Liang Yongyu did not return to the place where she abandoned the child. From the looks of it, she had completely given up on her daughter. Or perhaps she felt that rather than staying in the Zhai family and being tortured to death, she might as well leave the child to fend for herself. Perhaps, a kind-hearted person would take care of her. Since that's the case, hand the child over to a needy couple. Don't tell anyone about this. I will arrange it properly, madam. A few days later, Lu Che told Tongning that he had already arranged the best place for the little girl. She had been adopted by a well-educated couple. The couple loved the little girl, so they agreed to treat her like their own. Just like that, the incident came to an end. Tongning didn't bother to remember the snowy night of the Ant Queen's premiere, when a woman knelt on the ground and begged them. But, even until the very end, Tongning did not relent. Perhaps she would soon forget about it. But for Liang Yongyu, it was an unforgettable hatred. 5 days later, the nationwide box office statistics revealed that The Ant Queen had already surpassed $1 billion. It broke many records and was highly praised. Faced with this kind of box office and good reviews, Hairue decided to bring The Ant Queen overseas and release it in Europe and the US. Of course, Jones was the most suitable person to bridge the gap. Afterwards, Mo Ting sent a sample of The Ant Queen to Jones. After all, this was Tongning's first result as his disciple. Early the next morning, Tongning received a phone call from Jones. "I've seen The Ant Queen. As my disciple, you've met the requirements." Jones: "I've already discussed with Xiaoting about bringing the rights to The Ant Queen to the US. I hope more sci-fi fans will know of your existence. I want them to understand that the clash of Eastern and Western culture can create many different sparks. I'm looking forward to seeing The Ant Queen in the US. Thank you, Jones. Rather than thanking me, you should thank yourself for your hard work. I'm looking forward to The Ant Queen too. I'll do my best." Jones couldn't help but smile on the other side of the phone. He had enough reason to believe that the birth of the Ant Queen would give Tongning a whole new meaning, just like the public said. Apart from her other roles, just the fact that she's the producer of The Ant Queen is enough for her to be proud of for the rest of her life. The Ant Queen is indeed the best sci-fi film in the country. No, it's one of the best films in the country. Before Tongning filmed The Ant Queen, I didn't believe that we had a place on the international stage. But now, I'm confident that even if The Ant Queen doesn't do it, Tongning's other films will. It's just a matter of time. I'm so happy that when other countries mention that we have XXX and his film becomes famous on the international stage, we can also proudly say that we have Tongning." Afterwards, the TV began to play some interviews with passers-by. Even though they weren't fans of celebrities, whenever Tongning was mentioned, they would still raise their thumbs up. "Is she the producer of The Ant Queen? She's quite impressive. Of course I know her. She's been my goddess for a long time. Who in Beijing doesn't know about Tongning? I simply hope that The Ant Queen 2 will be released soon." So, to everyone, Tongning's significance wasn't just because she was an actress or a model, but because she had a whole new impression of her. She was synonymous with good films. Seeing Tongning's achievements, Lu Che immediately congratulated him in his office. "President, the madam is the work that you're most satisfied with." After hearing this, Mo Ting thought about all the hardships that Tongning had gone through, and all the pain that she had endured. Only he knew how hard Tongning had worked in a place that didn't see the light of day. "She's not a work of art. She's the person that I cherish the most in my life." "I misspoke." Lu Che smiled and changed the topic. "President, should we give the madam a present to congratulate her?" Thinking about it, it had been a long time since he had given her a present. But he knew that she definitely wouldn't like ordinary things. For someone like Mo Ting, who always had a plan, the most difficult thing in the world was to give Tongning a present. If it's hard to find an opportunity, a celebration dinner would be a great excuse. Mo Ting glared at Lu Che. Lu Che immediately shut his mouth. "Help me apply for the Fei Tian Best Actor Award." Lu Che didn't quite understand. "What? Am I not qualified to do so?" "No. It's just that you've never cared," Lu Che replied. "Of course I don't care about the award. But I care about what I can do at the event." Chapter 1099. The CEO of Hairue, Mo Ting, was going to compete for the Fei Tian Best Actor Award. As soon as news of this spread, everyone in the industry was shocked. Everyone could tell that Mo Ting only acted because he wanted to support his wife. He had no intention of developing his career in this area. So, why was he suddenly interested in the Best Actor Award? The big boss was indeed the big boss. Perhaps, only he knew what he was thinking. Of course, the 5 most popular Fei Tian awards this year were already competing with each other. But with the addition of Mo Ting, how could they possibly compete with Mo Ting's acting skills? However, no one knew why Mo Ting was so good at acting. He wasn't trained in acting and didn't have much experience. So how could his character be so good? Even Tongning couldn't help but laugh at him. For the big boss of the entertainment industry to compete with other actors for the Best Actor award, let alone the public, even I don't understand. You've already won Best Actress twice. Why can't I win Best Actor once? You're different, Ting. Did you know? Did you know that you were born with dignity? Tongning replied. Mo Ting smiled without explaining. Everything he did was to give his wife a surprise. Just as the Fei Tian Awards were about to start voting, Bai Chendong and Shiner received good news. They were about to hold their engagement ceremony. Although Tongning rarely heard from Shiner because she was with the weirdo Bai Chendong, she was still happy that their relationship had come to fruition. The ceremony was to be held on a private island in a week's time. This was in line with Bai Chendong's style of doing things. He was a weirdo to begin with, so no matter what he did, it wasn't surprising. But after the invitation was sent out, Han Shiner still gave Tongning a phone call. Ning Jia, although I really hope that you can attend my engagement ceremony, Han Yufan will most likely be there too. He's truly changed. But I'm still worried that the two of you will feel awkward when you meet. After hearing Han Shiner's words, Tongning turned to look at Mo Ting, who was sitting at his desk. She thought to herself, Han Yufan and she were no longer in the same world, so why should she mind? So she calmly replied, I definitely won't be late for your big day. Then it's a deal. See you next week. President Mo was sitting not too far away. Although his eyes were focused on his documents, his ears had already perked up when he heard Han Yufan's name. You're not going to ask for my opinion before agreeing? Hearing Mo Ting's sudden words, Tongning was confused. I just might bump into a stranger. I don't think I need to ask for your opinion, right? For Tongning, the past was a thing of the past. She was now a mother of 3 children. Plus, with President Mo's magnanimity, I don't think he would mind such a small matter. Besides, you're so prestigious, no one can compare to you. Giving me so many compliments only makes me more suspicious. Mo Ting withdrew his gaze and returned it to the documents in front of him. Tongning smiled. She knew she had already dealt with this man. Although they were an old couple, Mo Ting still felt jealous from time to time. But now that President Mo was so concerned about it, when they met, Tongning felt it was best to avoid them when the time came. In reality, the only reason Han Shiner and Bai Chendong were able to get married was because they had fought hard with the family. Otherwise, with Shiner's background, it would have been difficult for her to enter the Bai family. Bai Chendong had always been a crafty person. After finding out that his mother was trying to stop him, he decided to use his best actor skills to his advantage. He spent a good few months acting as a depressed patient and constantly threatened to kill himself. In fact, Mother Bai was so scared by him that her heart stopped a few times. Her son was seriously ill and only loved one woman. If she couldn't satisfy him, then she no longer needed to be a mother. So she agreed to their marriage. Of course, no one knew about this and the Bai family couldn't reveal it to the public. So her biggest wish was to not agitate Bai Chendong in case he accidentally killed her son. The media were quite curious about the relationship between Bai Chendong and Han Shiner. Back then, for the sake of a beautiful woman, Bai Chendong was willing to give up his career. After getting together with Han Shiner, he went into hiding. No one knew where he was or what he was doing over the past 2 years. He was probably the weirdest artist in the entertainment industry. The engagement ceremony was the same. Although the news was made public, it was held on a private island. Without Bai Chendong's permission, the media had no way of entering. Soon a week had passed. On the day of Bai Chendong and Shiner's engagement ceremony, Tongning and Mo Ting arrived with Yen Er in their arms. Tongning was dressed in a light yellow dress and a white coat. She looked more like a rich heiress than an international superstar. Meanwhile, Yen Er was in Mo Ting's arms, a respectable man holding an adorable baby. This was a scene that no one had ever seen before. After arriving on the island, Tongning immediately spotted Shiner dressed in a white wedding dress. It had been a long time since she last saw her, and she seemed to have matured. Especially with the happy smile on her face, she looked exceptionally bright and eye-catching. However, Bai Chendong, who was standing beside her, did not look too happy. After all, who liked to see another man constantly staring at their wife? Ningjia. Han Xiner spotted Tongning from afar and spotted Yin Er in Mo Ting's arms. So she immediately ran over. Is that Yin Er? Aha. She's so cute, she's so cute. Han Xiner teased as Bai Chendong approached Mo Ting. Did you do this on purpose? Huh. You knew I was getting engaged. Did you want me to accelerate my pregnancy? Bai Chendong asked as he gritted his teeth. I'm already a father of 3. What do you think? Mo Ting asked. The sooner we have children, the better Auntie will be at ease. It's bad enough that you brought a child, yet you stole my limelight. Although the 2 cousins each had their own style, when it came to overall strength, Mo Ting was still superior. Bai Chendong's main advantage lay in one word: strange. The 3 chatted and laughed. At this time, Tongning spotted Han Yufan standing not too far away from Han Xiner. After not seeing him for a long time, Tongning felt this man was quite unfamiliar. Chapter 1100. The Han Yufan at this moment was no longer as high-spirited as he was in the past. Although Tianyi had always been a small, third-rate agency, Han Yufan had always treated it like a big name. Following Tongning's gaze, Mo Ting spotted Han Yufan standing not too far away. But if it was another love rival, he might have made a move. But the current Han Yufan was not a threat at all. So Mo Ting simply glanced at him for a moment before looking away. With just one glance, Han Yufan realized the difference between him and Mo Ting. He then looked at the little girl in Mo Ting's arms. This was Tongning's 3rd child. She had 2 daughters and was now a national treasure in the entertainment industry. Ever since Tongning married Mo Ting, she and Han Yufan were no longer in the same world. So Han Yufan didn't want to be snubbed, so he turned around and walked away from Tongning. He knew that he was no longer worthy. No matter how much regret he felt, he couldn't get Tongning's forgiveness. Above all, to Tongning he was nothing. Han Xiner noticed Tongning's gaze and patted the back of her hand. Don't take it to heart. He knows what he's worth. Okay, the engagement ceremony is about to start. Hurry and get ready, Tongning urged Han Xiner. In that case, I'll go get ready. After speaking, Han Xiner held onto her dress and headed to the specially prepared makeup room. At this time, Mo Ting suddenly pointed to a young man wearing gold-rimmed glasses and said to Tongning, the 2nd master of the Zhai family. He's the one that Liang Yongyu climbed up to, isn't he? But look at his female companion. She brought someone else with her. Tongning looked at the 2nd master of the Zhai family and smirked. I'm afraid, even if Liang Yongyu gave birth to a son, he wouldn't get the status. For the Zhai family, the person they brought out and the person they raised at home are 2 completely different people. No wonder their daughter has no status. Tongning shook her head. The Zhai family completely treat women like tools to play with. Perhaps, the upper class had an unimaginable level of corruption. There were plenty of people like the Zhai family. Even if their husband was rich, the wife couldn't do anything about it. As long as they had control over the finances, they could turn a blind eye to their husband's affairs. I pity her 2 daughters. I hope Liang Yongyu can give birth to a son soon. If it's a daughter, I don't know where she's going to throw her away. Liang Yongyu was indeed going to give birth to a son, but that was a matter for another time. Tongning and Mo Ting didn't want to interact with people from families like that. In fact, they looked down on each other. However, because the Bai family and the Zhai family had business dealings, they decided to attend this banquet. Otherwise, they would have been completely unrelated to the Zhai family. The Bai family has such a big family business. Why would they marry a sickly daughter-in-law? This is truly unimaginable. That's right. Other than being a little young, this little wife of his really has nothing to show off. Didn't you hear just now? I've never seen a sports car in my life. I heard that the young master of the Bai family took a fancy to her and insisted on marrying her. I wonder how long she can last. Marrying one and finding 3 outside, isn't that the same? That's true. A few wealthy madams sat to one side and chatted casually. Their conversation never strayed away from Xiner's background. After all, Xiner was a typical Cinderella. She had nothing, yet she had won against the so-called daughters of their families. So, how could they not be jealous? However, it was fine if Tongning heard these words. But if Shiner heard them, she would definitely be hurt. But there was nothing that could be done. She had already entered the industry, so this was something that Shiner had to face. The wealthy madams also noticed Tongning. They had always looked down on entertainers, but they did not dare to look down on Tongning. It was simple. Apart from being in the entertainment industry, Tongning was also the CEO of Tangkor and had a century-old perfume empire. She wasn't someone that they could look down on. Soon the engagement ceremony began. Han Shiner wore a starry wedding dress as she walked down the petal-covered white carpet. She held onto Bei Qindong's arm as they walked to the front of the stage. This was an open-air chapel that Bei Qindong had specially built for Han Shiner. So, on top of the chapel, there were a lot of secrets between the two of them. Bei Qindong was aware that there were a lot of people present that disliked Shiner and looked down on her for marrying into a wealthy family despite her background. Since she was young, Shiner had always been sensitive. So, she could sense how sharp the gazes around her were. So Bei Qindong held onto Shiner's arm tightly and used his hands to give her courage and strength. Han Shiner knew what kind of family she was about to join. She had previously resisted it, but after seeing Bei Qindong act for the past few months, she even believed that he was suffering from depression. So she didn't dare to leave his side in case her heart ached. Although Father Bei and Mother Bei weren't satisfied with Shiner's background, they were satisfied with her personality. After all, she was the only one that could tolerate Bei Qindong's temper and quirks. As parents, there was nothing else they could ask for. Especially since Bei Qindong was suffering from depression. So as long as Bei Qindong wanted something, the old couple would prepare it for him. This was equivalent to announcing Shiner's identity as the Bei family's daughter-in-law. Of course, they had no idea that Bei Qindong's acting skills were also part of this. But no matter how good his acting skills were, he was bound to be exposed one day. After all, acting was acting, it wasn't the truth. If that happened, how would Bei Qindong end up? He had always been like this. He wasn't lacking in ability. But he didn't like to be like Mo Ting, who was calm and reserved, but had a black belly that could kill his enemies with one move. He didn't like to play by the rules. As long as he could achieve his goal, he didn't care about the method. Back when he was chasing after Shiner, he had already revealed this side of him. And this time it was even more so. Shiner knew that what she was doing wasn't right. But there was nothing she could do about it. In this lifetime, a person was bound to meet a nemesis. And Bei Qindong was undoubtedly her nemesis. Throughout the entire engagement ceremony, Bei Qindong expressed to everyone that they shouldn't stare at my wife. It wasn't until the couple boarded the yacht that Bei Qindong's resentment finally disappeared. This was the reason why Bei Qindong didn't want to take Shiner with him. He hated it when other men teased the cute Shiner. After the ceremony was over, Father Bei and Mother Bei welcomed the guests to their seats. As soon as they saw Yin Er in Mo Ting's arms, they were overjoyed. Look at this little face, it's so fair and tender. I wonder when that bastard at home will give me a grandson to hold. Chapter 1101. But the rascal is sick, so he won't be able to have a child for a while, Mother Bei sighed. Tongning and Mo Ting looked at each other without saying a word. Han Shiner had secretly told Tongning about this during the banquet. After hearing this, although Tongning couldn't object to it, she didn't like the way Bei Qindong took the risk. Women like stability, especially when it came to matters like marriage. Shiner was already in a weak position. Yet Bei Qindong had created obstacles in front of her and his parents. Although they might not be discovered yet, they were bound to be exposed one day. When that time came, what would they do? Shiner, since things have already gotten to this point, there's nothing else I can say. But you've been too accommodating to Bei Qindong. Sometimes he wants something so badly that he doesn't care about the consequences. But you can't do that. You need to think long-term. This year is your big day. Originally, I shouldn't have said so much. But I never expected that Bei Qindong would lie to his parents like this. Ningjia, I understand what you're trying to say, Han Shiner smiled. Han Shiner laughed. Since I allowed him to do what he did, of course I was prepared to be exposed. But not everyone can be like you and President Mo, who can plan everything out in the open. I know him. Although his bad habits make him look like a spoiled brat with a bad temper, I know his strengths and weaknesses, and I'm mentally prepared to face them. After hearing this, Tongning nodded her head. I'm just worried that you'll be bullied. As long as he's around, no one can bully me. Don't worry. As for how protective Bai Chendong was of Shiner, Tongning had yet to experience it for herself. Forget it. Everyone had their own way of life, and had the right to choose their own lifestyle. Although she was worried, she had no right to criticize someone else's life. As long as you're happy, that's all that matters. But if one day you end up being bullied, make sure you tell me first. I am part of your family. Okay, Ningjia. Han Shiner hugged Tongning. Han Shiner stretched out her arms and hugged Tongning. Although marrying Bai Chendong wasn't as stable as marrying Mo Ting, Han Shiner felt that accompanying the person she loved, no matter what she did, even if it was a risk or a mistake, she was willing to endure it. A fairy tale-like engagement ceremony came to an end after a whole day of hustle and bustle. But that night there were still fireworks on the island. This was something that Bai Chendong had specially prepared for Han Shiner. All the guests stayed on the island to enjoy the beautiful night view, including Tongning and Mo Ting. Thanks to Bai Chendong, I still have fireworks to watch, Tongning said as she leaned into Mo Ting. Tongning leaned into Mo Ting's embrace with a smile on her face. In reality, being married to Mo Ting was a blessing, but he wasn't good at creating a romantic relationship. Do you think I'm unromantic? Mo Ting asked. Tongning shook her head. Luckily, you don't play with these fancy things. Things like this are only suitable for a weirdo like Bai Chendong. He has the leisure to do so. Mo Ting smiled. Suddenly, he despised the daughter in his arms. How good would it be if we didn't bring Yen Er out? At this time, with the night view in the sky, they could do whatever they wanted. Don't think about it, Daddy Ting. Your daughter needs milk. Everyone was immersed in the beautiful scenery. But that night, while Mother Bai was helping the couple tidy up their new home, she discovered all sorts of information regarding depression under Bai Chendong's pillow. After looking through the information, Mother Bai was heartbroken. She felt like she didn't take good care of her son, and caused him to suffer from this illness. But after looking through the information in detail, she realized that all forms of depression required medication. But when she looked at Bai Chendong's home, there was no sign of a single pill. She flipped through other places, but there was no sign of a hospital diagnosis. Perhaps he had simply received psychological counseling. With this thought in mind, Mother Bai put away the information and left the couple's new home. However, the question that remained in her heart today would one day be solved in a surprising way. After Bai Chendong and Han Shiner got engaged, the industry lost yet another handsome man. Of course, the heiresses knew that Bai Chendong wasn't easy to deal with, so they didn't place much hope on him. They were simply surprised at what kind of woman managed to win over a weirdo like Bai Chendong. Because of a prenatal checkup, Long Jie regretted not being able to attend Han Shiner's engagement party with Tongning. But after finding out that Bai Chendong had faked his illness to gain his parents' approval, Long Jie had a different opinion of Tongning. I know you like to be honest and have zero tolerance for lies. But when it comes to interacting with your family, do you really tell them everything? Sometimes, a well-intentioned lie can lead to a good result. This is a part of getting along with others. On the day of the engagement party, there were a lot of gossipy women that criticized Shiner. I really don't want the Bai family to bully Shiner when the truth is revealed. Even if someone has to take the blame, I want Bai Chendong to take it. Tongning's intuition was accurate and the Bai family weren't stupid. That's true. I simply hope that when the time comes, Bai Chendong will protect Shiner well. As for you, you should stop worrying about others. The Fei Tian Awards are almost here. You should focus more on your own film. Also, about the child that boss picked up a few days ago, I heard that the Zhai family are currently looking for it. Long Jie took the opportunity to mention Liang Yongyu. Since they're looking for it, why can't they let their daughter off the hook? After hearing this, Tongning shook her head. You don't understand. Whether it's a son or a daughter, they all have the right to inherit the family. What if this daughter suddenly pops up in the future and fights with her brother for the inheritance? Haze. The waters of the rich and powerful are too deep. It makes me tremble in fear. Keep an eye on this matter and don't let the Zhai family find out about it. The Zhai family don't take Liang Yongyu seriously at all. At Xiner's engagement party, I saw the second master of the Zhai family with another female companion. That's why I don't understand. Liang Yongyu is young and beautiful. Why does she have to be a golden canary in a wealthy family? As for the second master of the Zhai family, apart from being rich, what's so good about him? There are so many women chasing after him like a flock of ducks. After hearing this, Tongming replied, "You shouldn't worry about other people's business. The Fei Tian Awards is just around the corner. You should focus more on our film. As for Xiner, I hope she and Bei Chendong can keep the secret for a little longer." Chapter 1102. In reality, not long after the incident, the Zhai family came to Hairue to pay Emoting a visit. Second Master Zhai personally drove his Maybach to Hairue. Although he did not explicitly say it was for the sake of his child, his conversation with Mo Ting was full of fireworks. "I heard that a few days ago, President Mo picked up something from the Zhai family in the parking lot of the cinema. I hope you can return it as soon as possible. This is not a joke." Mo Ting laughed as he sat in his seat of honor. His entire body emitted a threatening aura. "Master Zhai, aren't you joking? Of course, I did indeed pick up something and returned it to its owner. Why are you still here asking for it?" Second Master Zhai furrowed his brows as he adjusted his glasses and looked at Mo Ting. "Is President Mo telling the truth?" "Of course. If you don't believe me, you can ask your lover. She knelt down and begged me, yet I didn't agree. You should go ask her yourself. President Mo, we have always minded our own business. I hope you don't get involved in the Zhai family's internal affairs." This was Second Master Zhai's advice to Mo Ting before he left. But of course, Mo Ting wasn't afraid of threats. "I can't be bothered with the Zhai family's internal affairs. I just hope you don't kneel in front of me again." Second Master Zhai turned and left. He did not gain any advantage. In front of Mo Ting, even though he was the son of the richest man in China, he did not have the ability to be arrogant. But he had appeared in the lobby of Hairue in such a high-profile manner with a Maybach and a limited edition car. Who was he trying to intimidate? Afterwards, Tongming heard about the incident and found out that the Zhai family had visited Hairue. So she was quite worried. Will the Zhai family come looking for trouble? "My territory is not a place for outsiders to behave atrociously," Mo Ting replied calmly. No wonder Liang Yongyu went around asking for help. She even abandoned her daughter, so that she wouldn't return home to suffer. From the looks of it, the Zhai family are indeed having a hard time. "That has nothing to do with us," Mo Ting comforted. "You need to forget about it." Tongming nodded her head. In reality, when it came to wealth, the Tang family and the Mo family were not inferior to the Zhai family. The Zhai family were simply more extravagant with diamonds. Marrying into a wealthy family was every woman's dream. So it was no wonder that Liang Yongyu was willing to destroy her body to solidify her status. After returning to the Golden Lounge, Second Master Zhai went straight to Liang Yongyu's room and grabbed her by the neck. "Where did our daughter go? Didn't you say the Mo family took you in? But I've already found out that the Mo couple rejected your request. How much longer are you going to lie to me for? Plus, Mo Ting already has 3 children. There's no need for him to keep my daughter." Lintian Mo Lin I Lintian, Mo Lintian Mo Hai family A. You need to understand your position. You're just a small-time model. If you want to marry into the Zhai family, you either need to match up with them or give birth to a son. You need to understand your position. You are merely a model. If you want to enter the Zhai family, you either need to match them or give birth to a son. Lin Tian, listen to me. I will work hard and give birth to a son for you. Before that, you'd better behave yourself, Second Master Zhai said before he turned around and left, leaving Liang Yongyu sobbing on the ground. But before that happens, you better behave. After speaking, Second Master Zhai turned and left, leaving Liang Yongyu crying on the floor. If she gave birth to a daughter, then she could forget about entering the Zhai family. It was time to think of a solution. She didn't want to get involved with the richest and wealthiest families. Those that had tens of millions of dollars with a wave of their hands were enough to make her feel like she was living in a drunken dream. Soon, the nominees for the Fei Tian Awards were announced. Whether it was Mo Ting for Best Actor or Qiao Sun for Best Director, both of them were nominated. She thought, this is already the best consolation for Qiao Senator as expected. The Fei Tian Awards ceremony was held in February. By this time, the box office for The Ant Queen had already reached $2 billion. For a sci-fi film to achieve $2 billion in the box office was unbelievable. No one in the industry would have thought that it was possible, but Tong Ning had done it. Plenty of investors were already itching to invest in The Ant Queen too. But Tong Ning had no intention of doing so. As for the actors and actresses that wanted to appear in The Ant Queen too, there was an even bigger crowd. Those that once laughed at Tong Ning, looked down on her and didn't believe that she could achieve such results, could only hide in a corner. What else did Beijing's entertainment industry have left for Tong Ning? They could only accept her. At this time, a famous magazine contacted Mo Ting and offered to publish a book on Tong Ning. They wanted to write about her legendary experiences. But Tong Ning firmly rejected them. She replied to the editor, "From what I see, everything I do is to prove that I can do it. It doesn't matter if I become a legend or not. It's pointless for others to learn from me. Besides, I'm only 30 years old. I don't want to define myself like this." So in the eyes of the media, Tong Ning was a strange person. She was easy to get along with, but she didn't publish a book or publish a biography. She also refused to accept interviews or participate in any talk shows. It was impossible to dig up any information about her. Of course, compared to before The Ant Queen was released, Tong Ning's status was a far cry from what it was now. She was now recognized as a national treasure in the industry, and was respected by everyone in the industry. Had she already done it? Was she on par with Mo Ting? Sometimes Tong Ning couldn't help but ask herself. But she still felt like she was missing something. Just before the Fei Tian Award ceremony, Lin Qian gave birth. Her child was not yet full term, but it didn't affect her health. Because Mother Li took good care of her, even after giving birth, Lin Qian gained a lot of weight. Tong Ning and Long Jie visited her at the hospital. When they saw that she had given birth, they were happy for her. "Congratulations, you've joined the ranks of moms. You're about to have your second child. How can I compare to you?" Lin Qian laughed as she looked at Long Jie's stomach. "Where's Li Jin?" "I'm at the base. I couldn't make it back." Although her father and child weren't by her side, Tong Ning could tell that she had no complaints towards Li Jin. "Although he hasn't given me much warmth, he has given me enough pride. I'm sure our children will look up to him as a role model to be strong and courageous." "Then are you still coming back to the industry?" Chapter 1103. But hasn't Hai Rui already taken back Superstar Media? Lin Qian asked. "You've already sold your shares to me." Ever since The Ant Queen exploded in the box office, Hai Rui's board of directors have turned a blind eye to everything I do. "I'm sure they won't object if I bring it up," Tong Ning replied. "That's why I've decided to let you guys manage it. After all, there are too many talented people in the entertainment industry that are being overlooked. I still hope to train a few more Luo Shangs and Xinglans." "Don't you need an assistant? Don't I already have a manager?" Tong Ning smiled. "Plus, now that I've retired behind the scenes, I don't need an assistant to take care of me at all times. Ting and Lu Che are enough." Lin Qian was eager to work. She had never been a canary, even though her husband's family had a powerful background and she had just given birth. "Let's go back then." At some point, Mother Li had walked up behind the two of them. Who knew how long she had been eavesdropping on their conversation? "While I can still move, I can take care of my grandson. That's exactly what I want." "But Mom," Qian, "we are already satisfied that you're willing to marry Li Jin and give birth to a child for the Li family. I'm still going to say the same thing. You're still young. You can't give up on your own life just because you gave birth to a child. You should go work," Mother Li said in a reasonable manner. "Look at Tong Ning. She's the best example. She's the mother of 3 children, and she's also doing a good job at home. I'm not against you working. So what if you're in the entertainment industry? You're relying on your own two hands. What's the point of being prejudiced? Lin Qian felt that the most rewarding thing in her life was meeting the Li family. She had such a good husband and a mother-in-law that treated her with sincerity. Mom, thank you. I should be the one thanking you. At a time like this, Li Jin wasn't by your side. As your mother, I know how you feel, but you didn't complain. You're a good child that deserves my love. Tongning looked at the mother-in-law and daughter-in-law and smiled as a warm feeling flowed through her chest. Meanwhile, Long Jie was extremely envious. After all, she had experienced Mother Lu's oppression before, so she knew how difficult it was for a mother-in-law and daughter-in-law to not get along. Hurry up and take care of your body, then go out to work happily. Of course, this was also the first time Long Jie found out that Tongning had plans to hand superstar media over to them. But after the incident with Han Xiuqia, it was still a sore spot for her to manage a newcomer. In another 2 days, it was time for the annual Fei Tian Award ceremony. Another gathering of superstars. All the celebrities were preparing their battle suits in order to stand out at the award ceremony. But just like at the film festival, Tongning had no interest in the best dress category. Of course, as one of the hottest superstars, no matter what she wore, she was bound to be surrounded by a large group of reporters. But she still felt that she had passed the age of competing with other female celebrities for the limelight. After learning her lesson at the film festival, Long Jie no longer bothered to prepare a dress for her. After all, she didn't need it to attract attention. But little did she know, Mo Ting was carefully preparing a present for her. However, she never expected, before she received a surprise, she would first have to endure a scare. The night before the awards ceremony, Han Xiner suddenly gave Tongning a phone call. Ning Jie. What is it? Has Bei Chendong been exposed for pretending to be sick? Tongning subconsciously assumed that this was the reason. But Han Xiner shook her head. I'm pregnant. Han Xiner said in a low voice. That's a good thing. Why do you sound like that? Why are you so upset? But my mother-in-law insisted that I get an abortion. She said that Dongge is suffering from depression and has been taking medication for a long time. It will have a huge impact on the child, so I can't keep it. This was a trap that Bei Chendong had dug for himself. So what's Bei Chendong's attitude towards this? Of course he wants me to keep it. Although my mother-in-law hasn't said anything yet, I'm sure she thinks I'm immature. Han Xiner replied in a slightly wronged manner. Actually, I can tolerate all of this. I simply want to find someone to talk to. Xiner, marriage is a matter between two people. Bei Chendong isn't young anymore. This is a responsibility that he needs to take on. You shouldn't be the only one suffering, Tongning said firmly. Resolve it as soon as possible. Otherwise, if things get out of hand, it will be harder to deal with. I understand. You don't understand. Tongning didn't say this out loud. But no matter how worried she was, she couldn't criticize someone else's life. All she could do was comfort Han Xiner. Apart from this, what else could she do? After returning home, Mo Ting found Tongning sitting on the sofa in a daze. He couldn't help but ask, what happened? Tongning told him about Han Xiner's pregnancy and how much she despised Bei Chendong. After hearing this, Mo Ting laughed. Did you think that Bei Chendong wouldn't be able to protect Xiner? At least, based on the things he's done so far, I don't have any trust in him. Tongning shrugged. Don't worry, okay? I don't care, Tongning said as she stood up helplessly and headed for the bathroom to run a bath for Mo Ting. At this time, Mo Ting pulled out his phone from his pocket and gave Bei Chendong a phone call. Can you sort out your family matters properly? Do you need me to teach you? No, why are you calling me in the middle of the night to educate me? The fact that you faked your illness made it impossible for Han Xiner to get pregnant. She even called my wife to complain. What right do you have to make my wife worry about your family matters? Mo Ting asked straightforwardly. Do you want me to step in and deal with Auntie? Bei Chendong exploded in anger. It was bad enough that his wife didn't tell him about it, but she even went to look for Tongning. Now Mo Ting was scolding him to his face for causing Tongning to get tired. Yet he couldn't refute Mo Ting at all. He couldn't stand on his own 2 feet. With this thought, Bei Chindong put down his phone and returned to his bedroom. As soon as he saw Han Xiner lying in bed, his heart ached. He kept saying that he was fine, but in reality, he minded it more than anyone else. Yet, he had no idea that he had put Han Xiner in such a difficult position. Indeed, it was time to find a time to sort things out. So Bei Chindong took advantage of the night to give his father a phone call. Dad, do you have time tomorrow morning? Let's have some tea together. Kid, did you do something shameful? You'll know when you see me tomorrow morning, Bei Chindong said before he hung up the phone. What was more important than reassuring Xiner? Chapter 1104. The next morning, Bei Chindong arrived especially early for tea. Father Bei was waiting for him in the garden. As he brewed some tea, he smiled. It's rare for you to remember that you have a father. Bei Chindong lifted his jacket and sat down on a stone bench. He ignored the falling snow and picked up a hot cup of tea. Father, I came here today to admit my wrongdoings. Does this look like you're admitting your wrongdoings? Father Bei glared at his son and took a sip of his tea. Speak, what do you want? Actually, I'm not sick, Bei Chindong said straightforwardly. After hearing this, Father Bei slammed his teacup onto the stone table and furrowed his brows. If you have the guts, say that again. I said I'm not sick, Bei Chindong repeated. To prevent you from objecting to my marriage with Xiner, I put on an act. Since you've already lied to me, why didn't you go all the way and admit to it instead? Xiner is pregnant, so I told her to abort the child. She thought the antidepressants I took were bad for the child. But in reality, there's nothing wrong with Xiner and the child, Bei Chindong explained in seriousness. So I don't think you should force Xiner to abort the child. Father Bei scoffed. In reality, his hands were already trembling. But when he thought about it, he found it both ridiculous and infuriating. He knew that Bei Chindong was capable of doing something like this. If Xiner wasn't pregnant, did you not plan to explain yourself? Father Bei lowered his head and approached Bei Chindong. Yes, Bei Chindong replied honestly. What do you think your mother and I are? Ha. Father Bei continued to question Bei Chindong. We wholeheartedly worried about your health, but look at what happened. Are you kidding us? Is it fun? Bei Chindong, you're already in your 30s. Why can't you be mature and think about the consequences of your actions like emoting? Did you think that if you made your own decisions in life, we wouldn't have to interfere? Father Bei trembled in anger as Bei Chindong subconsciously reached out to help him up. Don't touch me. I can't make the decision for you. Go tell your mother yourself. So, by the time Han Xiner woke up, Bei Chindong was nowhere to be seen. He didn't even pick up her phone. She had no idea where he had gone, and he didn't even bother to say hello. She would never have guessed that Bei Chindong was currently kneeling in the Bei family's ancestral hall. All the elders of the Bei family had arrived, especially Mother Bei. No wonder she hadn't seen Bei Chindong take his medicine. It was because he wasn't sick at all. It was all because of his superb acting skills. Your dad and I aren't like you. I don't know who you take after. Mother Bei also looked at Bei Chindong with disappointment. Does the Bei family still need you to inherit the family business? I'd rather donate it to charity than let you squander it. Mom, I'm sorry, but this is all my idea. It has nothing to do with Xing, Humph. Mother Bei snorted coldly. She was very confident about this. Do you think I don't know you? I'm well aware of Xiner's personality. She doesn't have such a cunning mind. So don't blame her. If you knew this day would come, why did you lie to us? How old do you think you are? Bei Chindong, I'm not disappointed because of anything else, but because of your actions. You can continue kneeling in the ancestral hall. Han Xiner couldn't find Bei Chindong anywhere. She even gave Tongning and Emoting a phone call, but there was no news of him. In the end, she had no choice but to go to the Bei family home to look for him. After giving Mother Bei a phone call, Mother Bei's voice was cold. Bei Chindong has returned home. Oh, Xiner, come home for a while, Mother Bei instructed after realizing that Han Xiner had no idea how serious the situation was. Okay, I'll be right there. Han Xiner had a feeling that being called back to the Bei family home wasn't a simple matter. Bei Chendong had disappeared early in the morning and was still uncontactable. So, what else could he be doing at the Bei family home? So, Han Xiner hurried back to the Bei family home. As soon as she stepped through the front door, she saw Mother Bei looking at her sternly. "Xiner, how dare you? Did you already know that Bei Chendong was pretending to be sick? You must have put in a lot of effort to get into the Bei family home." After hearing Mother Bei's words, Han Xiner's heart sank. So she approached Mother Bei and tried to convince her with sincerity. But Mother Bei directly brushed her aside. "Mom, I indeed knew about this from the start. I have nothing to say to defend myself. I simply hope that you won't be so angry." "How could I not be angry? Right now you only have two choices. 1. Give birth to the child and get a divorce from Bei Chendong. 2. Abort the child and get a divorce right now." "Mom, I didn't do this because I wanted to marry into a wealthy family. I hope you can understand that Bei Chendong has always been like this, and I can't do anything about him. So no matter what happens, I can take responsibility with Bei Chendong. But I hope you won't separate us. I can write a guarantee that I won't take a single cent from the Bei family. But I'm begging you, please don't separate us. I don't want to be separated from him." Han Xiner burst into tears as she grabbed onto Mother Bei's arm and shook it back and forth. Mother Bei turned around and looked at Han Xiner. In the end, she shook her head helplessly. Don't cry, don't cry. Go check on that bastard first." Mother Bei did not say anything as she directly led Han Xiner to the Bei family's ancestral hall. As soon as she saw Bei Chendong kneeling on the ground, Han Xiner wanted to run over, but Mother Bei stopped her. "You are currently pregnant, and he has a thick skin. It's not like he'll die from kneeling a few times." Han Xiner did not dare to move. She simply stood to the side and watched Bei Chendong. "Xiner, go home," Bei Chendong said as he turned to Han Xiner. "You have no business here. I'm not leaving." Han Xiner cried. "If there's a crime, we can suffer together. Let's see if you still think of using tricks like this in the future." After hearing Han Xiner's words, the Bei couple almost clapped their hands in joy. Finally, someone could teach this demon a lesson. Ever since he was young, no one had been able to control Bei Chendong. Now that Han Xiner was threatening him, it was time to show everyone that Bei Chendong had a day like this. You don't care about the consequences of everything you do. If your actions end up hurting me, I want to see what you'll do. After hearing what Han Xiner had to say, Bei Chendong stood up and bowed to his parents. "Dad, Mom, I know I went overboard this time. But if you want to punish someone, you should direct it at me. Xiner was simply forced by me." Chapter 1105. "In that case, kneel here for an entire day and night," Mother Bei said mercilessly. "Mom." Xiner immediately wanted to plead, but Mother Bei stopped her. "Do you want your husband to suppress you and not listen to you from now on? Or do you want him to act the same way he did this time, and simply lie to achieve his goal?" Han Xiner did not say another word. "In that case, let him kneel here." After speaking, she led Han Xiner out of the ancestral hall. "This is what you deserve." Father Bei sneered as he watched Bei Chendong kneel down again and leave the ancestral hall with his wife and daughter-in-law. Bei Chendong knelt down with his back straight. It seemed he wouldn't be able to get away with this, so he had to carry out the order. But deep down, he knew that since his parents did not say anything to Xiner, it meant that they would no longer object to their marriage. After returning to the living room, Mother Bei gestured for Han Xiner to sit on the sofa and said in a serious tone, "We don't want to be hateful parents. Plus, I've never had high hopes for Bei Chendong. He's a complete jerk, and that's all he'll ever want in his life. He'll only win 2 awards in the entertainment industry and live a leisurely life. So Xiner, originally we hoped to find a capable daughter-in-law. At least, after we get old, someone would be able to take care of the Bei family. But from the looks of it, we don't have much hope. His father and I won't make things difficult for you. But we won't let you get away with it so easily. Since you've married into the Bei family, you should at least try to make some contributions to the Bei family. Try your best. So, after you've given birth, you'll be groomed by the family. Between the 2 of you, at least one of you should be our assistant. Only then will it be acceptable." Is this request too much? Han Xiner shook her head. Since he doesn't want to be down to earth and doesn't want to take over the family business, then you have to bear the burden. Take this opportunity to let the outside world know that you married into the Bei family. Although you don't have a family to rely on, you are not just a pretty face. This time Han Xiner nodded her head. You're not forcing yourself, are you? In reality, Han Xiner had previously helped Hai Rui and was quite interested in management. So if she was given the opportunity to learn more, she was more than willing to do so. Most importantly, in our industry, most kids around Bei Qindong's age have their own families on the outside. I'm sure you understand what I mean. But he only has one wife. Since the two of us have agreed, we can't tolerate his scheming. He won't. It would be best if he doesn't, but if he does, then everything you accept now will be the best capital for him in the future. Mother Bei was simply afraid that Han Xiner would be bullied. Although Han Xiner was easily manipulated by Bei Qindong, she wasn't a blank piece of paper to the public. At the very least, with a little training, he would definitely be able to achieve something. Dad, Mom, thank you. I know you have a history with Tongning and I am Mo Ting's auntie. We share the same bloodline. Do you think I'm a man-eating tigress? After all, some things are only for the public to see. Once you truly enter the industry, you will understand, Mother Bei reminded. Okay, I will learn well. Since my grandson is fine, then take good care of him. I won't rely on Bei Qindong anymore. If the two of you don't move back, I will find an auntie to move in with you. That way, you won't have to worry too much. Okay. Han Xiner agreed to all of Mother Bei's requests. Originally, she was prepared to end up like those in romance novels, and end up with a divorce and an abortion. Who would have thought? The Bei family weren't as difficult to get along with as she imagined. Mother Bei was right. Since she was Mo Ting's auntie, their family should be the same. Since the Mo family didn't deliberately make things difficult for others, why would the Bei family fall behind? Bei Qindong let him kneel. If we don't teach him a lesson, he will try this again in the future. Although kneeling for a 30-something-year-old was a little embarrassing, for the sake of Han Xiner, Bei Qindong did not say a word. He obediently kneeled for an entire day and night without a single second of cheating. Originally, he thought he would be able to see Han Xiner again after enduring this ordeal. But Mother Bei told him, she's already gone. All of a sudden, Bei Qindong didn't understand what Mother Bei meant. He tried to stand up, only to find that his legs were temporarily useless. Mom, you know my temper. I was born this way. To achieve my goals, I will do anything. In my world, there are no rules or boundaries. If Xiner wasn't feeling uncomfortable, I wouldn't have stepped out to apologize. After all, I didn't need your approval for our marriage. But I came, I kneeled and helped you vent your anger. But that doesn't mean you can treat Xiner as you please. After hearing this, Mother Bei glared at him. If Xiner wasn't here, no one would stop you one day from killing someone. That would be terrible. At least, for the sake of Xiner, Bei Qindong was willing to compromise. This was proof of how important Han Xiner was to him. In the past, he would never change for anyone. But now he had Han Xiner. Xiner has already returned to your home. Mom, I'll remember how you lied to me this time. Xiner also promised to compensate you. So, I won't cause you any trouble. But, you need to remember from now on, whenever you get into trouble, Xiner will be the one taking the blame for you. So, it's best if you reconsider your decision. Was he using exine, or to restrain him? At this moment, Bei Qindong no longer felt restrained. In fact, as long as Xiner was by his side, nothing else mattered. Most importantly, he wanted to make sure Xiner didn't suffer as much as she did. Therefore, he rushed back home without stopping. As soon as he stepped through the front door, he saw Xiner drinking some soup. Bei Qindong quickly ran over and hugged her. I'm glad you're okay. What could possibly be wrong with me? Han Xiner asked. Hurry and sit down. Let me look at your knees. What did you promise, Mom? Bei Qindong sat down on a chair and rolled up his pants. Han Xiner leaned over and examined his knees as she replied. I promised Mom that after giving birth, I would intern at the Bei family home. I knew it. I had no choice. If you won't go, then I'll have to. Han Xiner replied. Since Han Xiner had already said this, what else could Bai Chendong do? How could he watch his lovely wife suffer like this? That would be strange. Although, from the beginning, he had always felt that he was the one who suffered the most from this deception. But for the sake of Xiner, it didn't matter. What he did wasn't important. Chapter 1106. Just like that, Han Xiner and Bai Chendong's relationship came to an end. Han Xiner would soon become a business genius and stand out in the business world. Of course, that was all for the future. Right now, the most important thing was the upcoming Fei Tian Awards. As one of the hottest names in the Fei Tian Awards, Tang Ning had already become one of the highlights. But this time, Mo Ting was also competing for an award. No one knew why he was interested in the Best Actor award. Perhaps, even Tang Ning couldn't provide an accurate answer. Before they set off, Mo Ting confirmed with Lu Che multiple times. This made Lu Che a little nervous, afraid that he would make a mistake. Everything was done behind Tang Ning's back. He simply hoped that he would give her a pleasant surprise when the time came. Although the winter red carpet was laid out in the cold wind, it still couldn't stop its heat. Dazzling stars shone from all sides of the red carpet. This was the biggest annual ceremony and banquet for the artists. All the artists prepared themselves. Even though they knew that because of Tang Ning and her husband, they wouldn't be the most eye-catching even if they gave it their all. The Ant Queen still had an empty spot for Best Actress. Although the little actress Coco performed exceptionally well, there were still a lot of things that she wasn't perfect. This was the only consolation for the other actors. But they had no choice but to accept it. After all, the Ant Queen's results were obvious to everyone and they deserved it. So as soon as Tang Ning and Mo Ting arrived, a bunch of people rushed to congratulate them. Was there a need to say it? The Fei Tian Awards was about to turn into a runway show for the cast of the Ant Queen. After arriving at the awards ceremony, a lot of familiar faces appeared. Tang Ning nodded to each and every one of them as a form of greeting. In reality, whether Tang Ning received an award or not wasn't that important to her. All she wanted to know was whether Qiao Sun would receive the Best Director award. However, the award ceremony was a little long, and there were even performances in the middle. So, she waited until her palms were covered in cold sweat. She was afraid that the award that was supposed to go to Qiao Sun would suddenly change its mind. The Ant Queen, which was released at the end of the year, has been in the limelight. It was nominated for 6 awards, including Best Actor, Best Director, Best Screenplay, Best Cinematography. As the host spoke, the spotlight suddenly shone on Tang Ning and Mo Ting. At this time, Tang Ning was completely unprepared. I would like to ask Tang Ning, you are currently recognized as one of the best producers in the country and many artists want to work with you. Did you expect to achieve what you have today? Tang Ning received the microphone from the host and replied in a deep voice, I'm just sad that Qiao Sun won't be able to attend the award ceremony with us. I believe that Qiao Sun will be very happy to see this from the sky. But I'm asking you, can't you think about yourself? Hearing this, Tang Ning smiled and replied, I'm fine right now. There's nothing to worry about. From Tang Ning's response, it was obvious that she was a little dispirited. She didn't want to answer the host's question half-heartedly, and wanted the guest presenter to get on stage. The host understood what she was trying to say and laughed. Fine, this is probably the most boring question and answer I've ever had. In that case, let's not waste any more time. Let's present the Best Director award. Let's welcome our guest presenter. She wasn't interested in the editing, music, cinematography, or costumes. But the award that was about to be presented was what she wanted to know the most. Soon, the guest presenter walked onto the stage. After exchanging a few pleasantries, he turned to the big screen to look at the list of nominees. That's right, this was the award that Tang Ning wanted to know the most, the Best Director award. And Qiao Sun, who she was looking forward to the most, was also one of the nominees. The winner of this year's Best Director award is the director of Escape Room, Luo Fengzhong. Congratulations, Director Luo. However, as the screen froze and the spotlight paused, Tang Ning realized that the winner was not Qiao Sun. It wasn't. Seeing this, Mo Ting turned to look at Tang Ning. At that moment, Tang Ning was speechless. But there was an unconcealable sense of disappointment in her eyes. Here, we would like to clarify that because director Qiao Sun did not complete the entire film, the judges did not give him the highest score. But we will always remember Qiao Sun's name. We hope director Qiao Sun is well in heaven. The judge's decision was comprehensive and balanced. Don't feel bad, it's not something you can change, Mo Ting comforted. Tongning turned to look at Mo Ting and nodded her head. I thought forget it, since he's already gone, the judges would naturally be biased towards the living. I was too stubborn. It's such a shame that I missed out on such an important award. Mo Ting held onto Tongning's hand tightly without saying another word of comfort. However, Tongning had already lost interest in the later stages of the award ceremony. I was also nominated. Don't you want to know if I'll win? President Mo, how embarrassing would it be if you didn't win? Tongning couldn't help laughing. Mo Ting also smiled. It seemed for Tongning, the Best Actor award was already in his bag. There was no doubt about it. Do you know why I have to apply for the Best Actor award? Under the flickering lights, Tongning looked at Mo Ting and shook her head confusedly. You don't usually care. Because this is the glory of the Ant Queen. Why should I give it to someone else for no reason? The Best Actor award is one of the most important awards. It is used to add points to the entire cast. Mo Ting explained. For me, taking home an award may be a boring thing to do. But for you it's different. Best Actor. Your first movie has produced a Best Actor. Tongning stared at Mo Ting. Her eyes suddenly lit up with a fiery passion. So do you still think me going on stage to receive this award is dispensable? Tongning shook her head. Mo Ting smiled as he tightened his grip on Tongning's hand. Not long after, it was time to hand out the Best Actor and Actress awards. Of course, because there was no suspense to this award. When the presenter called out Mo Ting's name, no one was surprised. They simply felt curious. Look, even the big boss of the entertainment industry is here to fight for a minor actor's award. Chapter 1107. Let's welcome President Mo onto the stage to receive his award and give his acceptance speech, the host said excitedly as he stood to one side. Mo Ting stretched out his arms and gave Tongning a hug before he stood up from his seat and walked onto the stage with a domineering aura to face all the artists. As for the presenter, because they knew of Mo Ting's status, the presenter was not a CEO of a company or a normal person. Instead, the presenter was a master from the art industry that matched Mo Ting's status. President Mo, please give your acceptance speech. Mo Ting held onto the trophy and walked over to the microphone. Perhaps it was because of the lighting, but he looked especially impressive on stage. Time seemed to be taking special care of this man. Even though he was 35 to 36 years old, he did not seem to have aged at all. Some people even described Mo Ting as devastatingly beautiful. From the looks of everyone below the stage, it seems like I've bullied someone by winning this award. Hearing Mo Ting's words, the audience burst into laughter. This is the first award I've received in all my years in the industry. Although you all think I've bullied someone, it still feels heavy in my hands. Don't think that I'm stingy. Why can't I give this award to another professional artist? Because I can't. I know better than anyone how much humiliation my wife has endured to prepare and film this film. Even when she first asked Qiao Sun to help her, she still had to stand on his island in the cold for an entire afternoon. That's why I can't give it to her. I won't say any other thank you words. I simply want to announce a few things. Firstly, The Ant Queen will be released in 13 countries, including the European and American markets. Our film is going to reach the international market. Secondly, I would like to officially announce the revival of Superstar Media. I know that this has always been my wife's wish. She wants to use Superstar Media to unearth more talented artists. Thirdly, I would like to invite Qiao Sun to appear on stage. After hearing Mo Ting's words, the entire venue was in an uproar. Qiao Sun had passed away a long time ago, yet Mo Ting wanted to invite him out? Was he joking? Especially Tongning. As soon as she heard this, she almost jumped out of her seat. But a moment later, Qiao Sun's daughter walked out from the backstage pushing a wax figure of Qiao Sr. Everyone finally understood that Mo Ting was referring to the wax figures. The wax figure was made according to Qiao Sen's figure. Mo Ting had hired an Italian master to make it as realistic as possible. So when Tongning saw the wax figure, she almost burst into tears. Qiao Sen looked like he was still alive and standing on the stage. At this time, Qiao Sen's daughter received the microphone from Mo Ting and bowed to everyone. She then said, "I want to thank you for still remembering my father. But right now I really want to say, you are my queen. Because of you, the Ant Queen was created. It gave me the greatest comfort. It was like my father was still alive and he would always be by my side." Actually, we've also heard from President Mo that Tongning doesn't care about her achievements at all. All she wants is for Qiao Sen to receive everyone's approval. The host that had been standing to one side suddenly said, "So, since we've gotten to this point, let's change the order of the other most important award of the night. Since its inception, the Fei Tian Awards has always rewarded those that put their heart into their work. To pass on this belief, the committee has decided to award director Qiao Sen with a Lifetime Achievement Award. He wants to motivate all of the living film and television people here, so that the industry can move towards a better future." That night, Tongning sat below the stage, feeling extremely excited. Qiao Sen's efforts had finally paid off. At this moment, Mo Ting knew that this was what Tongning wanted the most. So, the couple looked into each other's eyes as their emotions flowed out. At the same time, we also hope that Tongning can produce an even better film so that the audience can enjoy it. While we're at this point, how are the preparations for the Ant Queen 2 coming along? Tongning's eyes were red, but she let out a laugh. Everyone knew that she was crying tears of joy. Come Tongning, come on stage." Hearing the host's invitation, Tongning shook her head. "It's fine. This night belongs to everyone. I hope everyone can enjoy it, and not just me." "In that case, don't you have anything to say to President Mo, who has prepared these 3 gifts for you? Let's talk about it in private at home." Tongning replied naturally. The host nodded her head, and did not make things difficult for Tongning. She then turned to look at Mo Ting. "President Mo, since you've taken the award as the leader of the industry, do you have anything to say to everyone? Tonight, I'll just be an actor and accompany my wife. I won't be pressuring anyone." Mo Ting replied straightforwardly. "Ha ha ha. Thank you for letting us off the stage." The host laughed heartily. The host smiled as he escorted Mo Ting and Qiao Sen's daughter off the stage. However, just as Mo Ting approached Tongning, she immediately hugged him tightly. "What's wrong? You always know what I want," Tongning said as she sobbed. "I feel like the most rewarding thing in my life is marrying you. I love to see you moved." The couple hugged each other tightly, causing quite a few people to be envious. Meanwhile, in front of the TV, there was one person staring at the couple hatefully. How could these 2 great people refuse to take my daughter in? As a result, I'll never be able to see my daughter again, and I don't even know if she's alive or dead. Tongning, I can't help but blame you. You could have easily saved my daughter's life. Across the TV, Liang Yongyu clenched her fists in anger. But she knew that she was no match for Tongning. First, she needed to give birth to a son and stabilize her position in the family. We have plenty of time in the future. We're bound to see each other one day. This was perhaps Tongning's most glorious moment. But the Ant Queen's success didn't stop there. After the film was released in the US and Europe, it caused quite a stir. How could an Asian produce a sci-fi film of this level? Was it fake? Was it cheating? The foreigners had their doubts. Chapter 1108. Foreign film experts even came up with technical analysis and research to expose, provoke and ridicule Beijing's sci-fi films. They also questioned Tongning, but Tongning did not respond at all. Meanwhile, the post-production team that she led officially established a post-production company called Glory. Above all, Glory and Superstar Media were combined under Hai Rui. Because of the exposure of the post-production team, Glory received offers from many film and television companies. Some even offered them astronomical sums of money, but they all rejected them. Firstly, They helped Tongning because of Tongning and Xiao Sen's dedication to sci-fi. Secondly, their technology was now exclusive to the Ant Queen. In other words, they would only work on the Ant Queen. Thirdly, if they wanted to continue improving, they needed time to learn. So they weren't willing to waste their energy on other films. At least for the time being, their main focus was on the Ant Queen. Most importantly, no matter who they worked with, it wouldn't be easier than working with Tongning. After all, Tongning had already provided them with the best benefits, the best treatment and the best glory. However, just as the Ant Queen was supposed to strike while the iron was hot, Tongning once again disappeared from the public's eye. She had to start preparing for the Ant Queen 2. Without Xiao Sen, the Ant Queen 2 was going to be difficult to film. Tongning knew better than anyone. A little while later, news of the Ant Queen winning an award began to spread overseas. But Emoting sent people to every award ceremony. This wasn't because Tongning had become arrogant, but because domestic sci-fi films had been kneeling in front of foreign films for many years. It wasn't easy for her to stand up again. So she needed to show an attitude and build the confidence of the domestic film industry. When it came to an overseas award, they had to be neither indifferent nor enthusiastic. I would like to invite Senior Long to appear in the Ant Queen 2. I want to add elements of Kung Fu into the film. As one of the symbols of our country, I also want to incorporate it into a sci-fi film. The Ant Queen was about a father and daughter. The Ant Queen 2 Foot is about a teacher and student. What do you think, Ting? Seeing that Tongning was getting more and more familiar with film production, Emoting laughed. It seems you have a lot of resources to use this time. I won't be able to do anything. Are you kidding me? Tongning put down her pen and paper and turned to look at Emoting. Do you think I can write a complete script? Emoting thought for a moment and nodded his head. Now that I think about it, I do have some use. Story is the essence of a movie. No matter how realistic the post-production effects are, the only thing that will retain the audience is the exciting storyline. You can also learn to write. If you want me to memorize my lines, I can do it. But if you want me to think of such a huge structure, it's quite difficult for me, Tongning admitted honestly. I'm not like you, I don't know everything. President Emo was so pleased with himself that he naturally let his wife lead him by the nose. As for the director, although Tongning had considered letting In Zihao take over, she wasn't sure if he would be willing to take on Xingyan's role. The public is waiting for you to recruit actors. Other than Uncle Long, do you have any other candidates? I won't openly recruit anyone, Tongning replied. I don't want to hold an audition. I won't invite any new celebrities or newcomers. At least, before they show me their acting skills, I won't take another look at them. In that case, take your time and observe. Just ignore other people's recommendations. Like this, Tongning began to prepare for the Ant Queen 2. However, a few months later, the Zhai family's wedding invitation arrived at Emoting's office. President, the Zhai family specifically sent this invitation to invite you and the madam. I never expected that Liang Yongyu would actually get what she wanted and marry into a rich family. I heard that she's pregnant again. Apparently it's a boy. She went for a checkup 3.5 months ago. And as soon as she found out the gender of the child, her status skyrocketed. As Lu Che spoke, he placed the invitation on Emoting's desk. Special instructions? Emoting looked at the invitation with interest. Liang Yongyu still holds a grudge against you from back then. Are you referring to the time Liang Yongyu knelt down and begged for help? This time, Emoting did not respond. But Lu Che could already guess the answer from Emoting's silent expression. If this was really the case, then the grudge between the two of them was going to run deep. If Liang Yongyu was stubborn, she would have assumed that Emoting and Tongning caused her to lose her daughter. Now that she had a boy and her identity was different, it was time to settle the score. Are you going to the wedding or not? The Zhai family and the Bei family have business dealings. Since the Zhai family specifically sent me an invitation, I naturally have to go, Emoting replied. Let's see what Liang Yongyu wants to do first. Since she's already caused trouble, it's best to resolve it as soon as possible. It's better than planting a bomb in the ground. Okay, I'll let the madam know, Lu Che nodded. Liang Yongyu's daughter was currently being taken good care of. If the Zhai family found her and she had a son, then her daughter's life would no longer be important. A little while later, Tongning received the news and laughed. I never thought there would be a follow-up to this incident. Liang Yongyu was helpless at the time. She must be holding a grudge against the president and the madam. Okay, let's see how she plans to get her revenge. Tongning took Liang Yongyu's matter to heart. After all, she never let her guard down against her enemies. In order to climb into a rich family, Liang Yongyu gave birth to a daughter. Yet, she wanted someone to raise her daughter for her. Yet if someone didn't agree, she would hold a grudge? What kind of logic was this? Soon, news of the Zhai family holding the wedding of the century spread throughout the industry. It was said to be the most expensive wedding in history, and was estimated to cost over $100 million. No wonder Liang Yongyu was desperate to marry into the Zhai family. Now, she probably felt that all the pain she had suffered before was worth it, right? Who would have thought? Second Master Zhai was indeed generous. But one could imagine how much help Liang Yongyu's son would be for him to inherit the family business. Perhaps, the Zhai family were afraid that Tongning and Mo Ting wouldn't attend. So Second Master Zhai personally paid them a visit to apologize. Using the excuse that she had previously visited Hai Rui's office to ask for Mo Ting, she used the excuse of apologizing to Mo Ting. President Mo, I'm really sorry about last time. But I've been too busy, so I haven't had a chance to make it up to you. So you definitely need to attend my wedding and bring Mrs. Mo and your precious son. Of course. Mo Ting replied with a deeper meaning. He wanted to see what trouble Liang Yongyu, the new rich Mrs. Mo, would dare to cause Tongning. As long as she dared. Chapter 1109. Liang Yongyu's daughter was currently staying at the home of a physics professor at Beijing University. Because of his wife's frequent miscarriages, they had already lost 3 children. In order to fulfill his wife's wish, the professor offered to take care of the child after hearing about the little girl. He also promised that he wouldn't let the Zhai family find her. The couple were already in their 40s, but they still took good care of the little girl. They treated her like their own child. Although they weren't as wealthy as the Zhai family, they still tried their best to give the little girl the best life they could. As soon as Tongning heard about this news, she felt relieved. At least, the child wouldn't have to worry about food or clothing for the rest of her life. As for Liang Yongyu's attacks, she would deal with it as she saw fit. What was a wealthy wedding? It was something that everyone knew about. In fact, it was something that easily involved millions of people. This was a little too ostentatious, but it suited Liang Yongyu's current status. Everything that the Zhai family spent on her today, they would be able to earn it back at the wedding. As she looked at the news, Tongning couldn't help but laugh. She had a feeling that Liang Yongyu's life from now on would be filled with endless suffering. But of course Liang Yongyu didn't feel that way. In that case, she had no choice but to go and see for herself what she had prepared for the wedding. Soon, it was the day of Di Liang's wedding. As it was already summer, Tongning was dressed in a black off-shoulder dress that hugged her perfect figure. Afterwards, she knelt down and helped her 2 sons adjust their suits. Strictly speaking, this was the first time Tongning and Mo Ting had brought the twins to a public event. Since the Zhai family had invited them, Tongning had no choice but to accept. Mo Zishi was a typical child and easy to coax. With a simple piece of candy, he stood up obediently and let Tongning help him get dressed. On the other hand, Mo Zichen was like an old man. Although his movements were slow, he still knew how to dress himself at his age. No wonder the couple had to take their son to the hospital for a checkup. Seeing this, Tongning looked at Mo Zichen. Do you need mommy's help? She had a feeling that Mo Zichen would understand. Mo Zichen shook his head. He then looked at the bow tie on Mo Zishi's neck and fiddled with it on his own neck. Seeing this, Tongning couldn't help but chuckle. It didn't take long before Mo Ting returned home. Seeing the mother and sons had already changed, he entered the cloakroom. 10 minutes later. Since you're done packing, let's go. Tongning originally wanted to carry the children, but Mo Ting stopped her. The couple held on to one child each as they walked out of the house. You got a new car? Tongning looked at the new car parked in front of her home and asked confusedly. Is there a need to do this? It's my first time bringing these two rascals out. Comfort is the most important thing. No matter how comfortable he wanted, he didn't need a limited edition Rolls-Royce, right? In reality, President Mo simply wanted to boost his low-key wife's prestige. She was used to being frugal and never acted like a superstar. But today was different. When you attend the wedding today, your mission is to steal the bride's limelight. Tongning giggled as she glared at Mo Ting coquettishly. The wedding was held in a 7-star hotel. The hall that could hold over 10,000 people was decorated with a sea of fresh flowers. According to rumors, these roses were flown in from France, and there were over 100,000 roses used. A wedding like this was every girl's dream. Judging by the looks of envy on the faces of the socialites, it was easy to imagine how much they wanted it. Many big names were gathered inside and outside of the industry. As the Zhai family was also involved in the entertainment industry, many big names were fighting to be present. Soon, a brand new white Rolls-Royce arrived at the entrance of the hotel. As the Mo family stepped out of the car, they attracted a lot of attention. Although Liang Yongyu was already dressed in jewels as she greeted the guests, and the diamonds on her body were already eye-catching enough, no one expected that Tongning's appearance would attract the attention of so many guests. As a result, everyone's attention was quickly diverted away from Liang Yongyu. Tongning brought 2 sons at once. Is she purposely provoking Liang Yongyu? You can't blame her. After all, having 2 sons in a lifetime isn't something that normal people can have. Look at Tongning's twins. They're so handsome. Liang Yongyu looked at the attention of the guests and felt a sense of resentment rise from the bottom of her heart. So after Tongning sat down with the twins, Liang Yongyu approached Tongning and said, "Mrs. Mo, can I have a word with you?" Tongning looked down at the twins in her arms, and then looked up at Liang Yongyu. "Can't you wait until after the wedding? After all, I need to take care of 2 kids. It's not convenient. I'll wait for you in the waiting room on the 3rd floor. I hope you can come over as soon as possible." So, was Liang Yongyu forcing Tongning to see her? Tongning ignored her. At this time, Mo Ting walked out of the bathroom and noticed something was wrong with Tongning's expression. So he asked, "What's wrong?" "Liang Yongyu asked me to see her on the 3rd floor. Who does she think she is?" Mo Ting laughed. "There's no need to pay attention to her. What do you think? Are the kids afraid of strangers? Look at how much fun Mo Zichi was having." Although Mo Zichen did not say a word, it wasn't hard to tell that he was used to the atmosphere. "I saw a lot of familiar faces in the industry. Help me say hello to them as a form of courtesy." "It's not convenient for me to walk around with the 2 rascals here." "Okay, I'll be right back." Mo Ting stood up and disappeared into the crowd of guests. Since this was Liang Yongyu's wedding, she couldn't do anything too obvious. After all, she didn't want to ruin her own wedding. Plus, Tongning wasn't someone that was easily bullied. So, Mo Ting was a lot less worried. It didn't take long before someone approached Tongning. "Ningjia, can I take a photo with the 2 babies? They're so cute." Tongning smiled and replied, "If you don't want to announce it to the public, I have no reason to reject you. After all, I want the twins to keep a low profile. I won't announce it to the public. Besides, the kids change every day and you and President Mo protect them well. The media won't find out about it." The woman was a woman in her early 20s. Her eyes were clear and innocent. She didn't seem to have any ulterior motives. So, Tongning did not reject her. With Tongning's approval, the woman knelt down and pinched Mo Zichen's cheek. But Mo Zichen was obviously not happy about a stranger touching him. Chapter 11:10. Before Tongning showed up, Liang Yongyu returned from the waiting room to find Tongning sitting with a bunch of rich women discussing parenting techniques. Her heart was filled with hatred. Tongning had indirectly harmed her daughter, yet she had the cheek to tell others about her experience in taking care of a child. "Yongyu, where did you go?" Second Master Zhai looked around and couldn't find Tongning, so he looked at her accusingly. "I took you to meet a few important people." Liang Yongyu looked at Tongning amongst the crowd. Although she wanted to tear her fake face to shreds, she had to at least get through the wedding, and let Tongning enjoy herself for a little longer. She was going to come back and make trouble for Tongning after the wedding ceremony was over. Tongning could sense Liang Yongyu's vicious gaze from afar, but she did not respond. After all, she also understood that most people in this world were more willing to blame others, and very few people would reflect on themselves. Ningjia, I feel like this year's bride isn't very friendly towards you. The woman who was taking a photo with Zixi and Zhai Yunsheng happened to capture the way Liang Yongyu looked at Tongning. So she handed the phone to Tongning and asked, "Look." Tongning did not pick up the phone. She simply smiled. "I think you're mistaken. I've never met Mrs. Zhai before." "I think so too." Tongning took care of the children as she chatted with the people around her about the Ant Queen. Before she knew it, it was already time for the wedding ceremony. Mo Ting returned to the mother and sons and pulled them into his arms. Obviously, this scene was a lot better than the one on stage. This wedding looks grand on the surface. Yesterday, I even saw Second Master Zhai entering a nightclub with a beautiful woman. Keep your voice down. Everyone knows that the couple got married because they had a child. This little vixen got married because she's pregnant. So no matter how extravagant the wedding is, it's just a show on the outside. It's better to watch Tongning's family of 4. Do you think Tongning brought 2 sons here to provoke Liang Yongyu? Haha. She has 2 sons. She can't possibly bring only one of them here. It would be giving her face if he came. Naturally, the banquet was filled with gossip. After all, everyone in the industry knew how Liang Yongyu ended up in Second Master Zhai's bed. Although she was now the wife of a wealthy family, she couldn't hide her lowly background. A marriage like this was destined to be a tragedy from the first day of marriage, so it was no wonder that others didn't think highly of it. On the other hand, Tongning and Mo Ting were perfect examples of what a rich family should do. After their flash marriage, they were ridiculed by everyone. But now, they already had 3 children and were a famous loving couple who were inseparable. So if they had to choose between a luxurious wedding and a loving husband, everyone would choose the latter. That's why, even though most women were envious of the extravagant decorations, they weren't envious of Liang Yongyu. However, Liang Yongyu did not think this way. She was already a member of the Zhai family. Even if she divorced Second Master Zhai right now, she would still be able to take half of his assets. So, why would she care about feelings? After all, money was the right path. The luxurious and emotional ceremony came to an end with Second Master Zhai's deep kiss. Afterwards, it was time for the newlyweds to toast. Meanwhile, Liang Yongyu spent almost 20 minutes changing into a luxurious cocktail dress. The first thing she did was drag her husband over to Second Master Zhai and say, "Hubby, do you remember the last time I took our daughter out on a trip? At that time, I accidentally lost my daughter and President Mo and Mrs. Mo helped me take care of her." Second Master Zhai couldn't understand why Liang Yongyu would mention this matter at a place like this, so he pretended not to understand. But Liang Yongyu continued, "How could you forget something so important? It's because Mr. and Mrs. Mo still haven't found our daughter." After hearing Liang Yongyu's words, Second Master Zhai immediately tried to drag his wife away. However, Liang Yongyu stopped him. "That night, my husband and I had an argument. In a moment of anger, I carried our daughter away and placed her in front of President Mo's car. Afterwards, President Mo rescued her and took her to the hospital. I'm very grateful to the 2 of you for what you did, but I begged you to take care of my daughter for a little while longer. At that time, we had an argument and I had nowhere to go. It was freezing outside, but you refused to let me. This kindness has left a deep impression on me." After hearing this, everyone understood what Liang Yongyu was trying to say. Was she taking advantage of the fact that she had married into a wealthy family to get back at them? Liang Yongyu was too young, so she didn't understand what was going on. Her words simply made everyone think that she was insensible. How could she abandon her daughter because of an argument? Then, when she begged for someone to take care of her daughter, they refused, so she held a grudge. How good must this weirdo be in bed for the Zhai family to tolerate such a brainless woman? My poor daughter. So, why haven't you seen your daughter yet? Tongning asked. Don't tell me you abandoned your daughter somewhere again. Mrs. Zhai, today is your wedding day, so I don't want to make things difficult for you. But you shouldn't blindly push your luck. Otherwise, if things get out of hand, no one will be happy about it. Tongning, if it wasn't for your selfishness, my daughter wouldn't have gone missing. After hearing this, Tongning pointed to Liang Yongyu with her chin and said to Second Master Zhai, "Can't you control your woman properly? She's causing a ruckus at your wedding. It seems she doesn't want the Zhai family to have an easy time." Tongning, you're so scheming. You're good at sowing discord. You're indeed worthy of your title as a best actress. Liang Yongyu, have you had enough? Don't you know what occasion we're having today? It's precisely because it's an important occasion that I want to see if you're going to help me or not. Liang Yongyu said like she was making a bet. Are you going to help me or an outsider? Don't forget, I'm carrying your son in my stomach. I'm not going to ask for anything else. All I want is for Mrs. Mo to apologize to me for what happened in the past. Let's make a clean slate. Otherwise, it's going to be hard for me to take this lying down. Tongning scoffed. Obviously, she had overestimated Liang Yongyu. Liang Yongyu, look at the occasion. Our daughter is also yours. Liang Yongyu said coldly. Don't forget why we don't know where she is right now. I simply want the person that wronged me to apologize to me. What's wrong with that? Chapter 11:11. Can't you see what kind of occasion this is? Stop fooling around. If word of this gets out, the Zhai family won't benefit either. Second Master Zhai hugged Liang Yongyu tightly, but failed to take her away. Liang Yongyu pushed her husband's hand away and glared at Tongning. I don't care. I'm going to make Tongning apologize to me today. In this way, she could continue her performance. Did you take the wrong medicine? If she had taken in my daughter for a little longer, even if it was just for a little longer, my daughter wouldn't have gone missing. Liang Yongyu yelled as she pointed to Tongning's nose. Everyone in the wedding hall turned to look at them. Are you crazy? I'm crazy. Liang Yongyu pushed her husband away and placed her hands on the dining table. She then glared at Tongning coldly. Either apologize to me or return my daughter to me. You're always pretending to be kind and loving to help others in the industry. Is it all fake? Tongning, I knelt down and begged you. But I never expected that you would turn a blind eye to it. You're amazing. Look, if you had taken in my daughter back then, my daughter would be able to go home now. So it's you who caused my daughter to go missing, it's you. Liang Yongyu threw caution to the wind as her questions were sharp and powerful. Just like that, she questioned Tongning why she didn't take her daughter in. Why? Tongning stopped Mo Ting from speaking and asked, why should I take in your daughter? Did I make you give birth to 2 daughters in order to marry into a rich family? Did I tell you to leave your daughter by my husband's car? Why should I take care of the child you gave birth to? Are you my descendant? What's my relationship with you? Liang Yongyu, it's my duty not to help you. Now, I'm sure that I made the right decision back then. As for why your daughter disappeared, you should ask yourself. Where did you dump her? Mrs. Mo, please don't say any more. Second Master Zhai was afraid that if he continued to speak, the Zhai family's secret would be exposed. Who gave you the right to insult my wife like this? Mo Ting, who had been silent the entire time, finally spoke up. How shameless are the Zhai family. I want to see it today. The Zhai family doesn't have the right to speak in Beijing. Since you invited us here, don't act like you're rich and powerful. Don't you know how powerful the Zhai family is? Either you apologize to my wife right now, or you explain everything about the child today. Anyway, there are thousands of people here. As soon as he heard Mo Ting's threat, Second Master Zhai immediately said, President Mo, don't get angry. In front of everyone, your woman wants my wife to apologize to her? Did I hear that right? Don't you know about the Zhai family? Do you know how to control women? If you don't, I can teach you a lesson. At this moment, no one said a word. To be exact, they were all intimidated by Mo Ting's aura. He didn't appear to be agitated, but his words were so oppressive that they couldn't breathe. Especially towards the Zhai family, every word was filled with a sense of threat. As a result, The Zhai family's parents immediately rushed over and tried to calm them down. President Mo, I'm sorry, but can you give us some face and let this matter go? I can't. No one has ever dared to yell at my wife in front of me. Mo Ting had no intention of backing down. Let's resolve the matter regarding the child today. Otherwise, if Liang Yongyu continues to bite onto my wife, how am I supposed to argue with her? President Mo, we still have business dealings with the Bei family. You should know that you have business dealings with the Bei family, not the Mo family. Mo Ting yelled. When the Zhai family is able to do business with me, then you can use this trick to beg for mercy. What do you think about my wife? She doesn't look like someone that can be easily bullied. Ha! The Zhai family were helpless as they glared at Liang Yongyu. But they had no choice. Mo Ting had already suggested it. If they didn't do as he said, the matter would only get worse. So Father Zhai directly bowed and apologized on behalf of the couple. I'm sorry, President Mo and Mrs. Mo. I didn't teach my child well. Fine, I'll resolve it. Do you think I'm afraid of the Mo family? Liang Yongyu yelled loudly as Father Zhai bowed. Do you want to get a divorce right after getting married? Second Master Zhai threatened. But this trick obviously didn't work because there was no fear in Liang Yongyu's eyes. Fine, I'll get a divorce. I'm going to tell everyone about how the Zhai family tortured my daughter to death. Everyone, before I got pregnant with this baby boy, I already had 2 daughters. When I was 20 years old, I followed this bastard. But because I didn't give birth to a son, my older daughter was tortured to death and my younger daughter almost died at the hands of this family. So I carried my daughter away and asked Tongning for help. But I never expected that she would leave me to die. Since things have already gotten to this point, I might as well not get married anymore. I'll just abort the child later. But the Zhai family are too much of a bully. No one expected that Liang Yongyu would play a trick on the Zhai family at a place like this. Although scandals like this were no longer a secret among the rich and powerful, for Liang Yongyu to expose them in front of so many people, it was a huge loss of face. Liang Yongyu, do you want to die? Ever since my daughter went missing, I've wanted to die. After seeing Liang Yongyu's act, Tongning finally understood her true intentions. Who said that this woman was brainless? Liang Yongyu was deliberately using the opportunity to expose the Zhai family. Liang Yongyu wanted to humiliate the Zhai family at the wedding. If they got a divorce, they would get a share of the Zhai family's assets. With the addition of the child and the lawyer, Liang Yongyu would probably get even more. This was a good idea. Only an act like this, killing 2 birds with 1 stone, was worthy of such a luxurious event. Otherwise, Tongning would have looked down on the retarded Liang Yongyu. The Zhai family obviously didn't expect that Liang Yongyu would go all out. Second Master Zhai looked at Liang Yongyu in shock. He was completely speechless. Zhai Lintian, let's get a divorce. Zhai Lintian did not say a word as he threw a slap across Liang Yongyu's face, causing her to fall to the ground. As soon as Zhai Lintian lost his temper, Tongning realized that Liang Yongyu had found another opportunity to complain, as expected. Stomach, my stomach. Can anyone save me? Chapter 11-12. As a result of Zhai Lintian's actions, Liang Yongyu ended up having a miscarriage. A grand wedding was turned into a mess by the bride, and the Zhai family was completely humiliated. No, the Zhai family's true loss was yet to come. After all, Zhai Lintian's actions in front of everyone meant that Liang Yongyu would receive a bigger share of the family's assets. By dragging Tongning into the mess, she would be able to humiliate the Zhai family and take their money. This was exactly what Liang Yongyu wanted to do. Outside the hospital, Zhai Lintian heard Liang Yongyu's cries to the media. He wanted so badly to sew her mouth shut. If he had known this would happen, he wouldn't have been so merciful. The Zhai family tortured my daughter to death and Tongning did nothing to save her. I will deal with them through the legal system. Liang Yongyu cried as she answered the media's questions. But the Zhai family had no way of controlling the situation. After all, Liang Yongyu had caused a scene at the wedding. Afterwards, the Zhai family expressed their apologies to Mo Ting and Tongning. We're sorry, President Mo. As you can see, the Zhai family was set up and we're currently in a terrible situation. I hope we didn't cause too much trouble for you and Mrs. Mo. The reason why Liang Yongyu dared to do what she did was definitely because someone was guiding her. The Zhai family should be careful, Mo Ting reminded. Especially tell Second Master Zhai not to be angered by Liang Yongyu again. Otherwise he will continue to fall into her trap. Thank you, President Mo, for letting bygones be bygones. No matter how big of a grudge they had, it wasn't worth it. Especially since the Zhai family was currently being set up by Liang Yongyu. Tongning told him not to hold the wedding incident against her. After all, the Zhai family was currently in the middle of a storm. But Mrs. Mo's reputation. Take care of the Zhai family instead, Mo Ting said. In other words, he didn't need to worry about his woman. This time, Tongning was in an awkward situation due to Liang Yongyu's involvement. Everyone knew that she hadn't done anything wrong. Yet in Liang Yongyu's mouth, she was called a sinner because she didn't take her daughter in. Including the argument at the wedding, there were also different versions of the incident. It was obvious that the people in the industry had seen the incident as a joke. But the thing that made them the most frustrated was the fact that Liang Yongyu had used them as a stepping stone. Liang Yongyu actually dared to step on Tongning's head. Think of a way to fight back. Everyone is laughing at you for being the wave on the beach. Long Jie heard some gossip and felt a little upset. This woman actually dared to step all over your head. If this is her way of getting revenge on me because of what happened in the past, then she has succeeded, Tongning smiled. This pisses me off, very pisses me off. How long do you think the Zhai family will let someone like Liang Yongyu live? Right now, we're just waiting for the limelight to blow over. Once no one pays attention to Liang Yongyu's matter, it won't be long before she dies. She has indeed been in the limelight for once, but I'm afraid her days from now on won't be easy. Long Jie, find an opportunity to keep an eye on Liang Yongyu. Make sure she doesn't leave Beijing. Perhaps she has already seen through my plan and will choose to attack me head-on. Indeed, Tongning's guess was right. In order to keep the peace, the Zhai family privately approached Liang Yongyu to negotiate with her. But Liang Yongyu directly offered a sky-high price of $1 billion. Although the Zhai family felt that Liang Yongyu had gone too far, compared to taking half of Zhai Lintian's wealth, $1 billion was already considered gentle. So the day after Liang Yongyu received the $1 billion, she cried in front of the media. She claimed that she dreamed of her daughter telling her not to go against the Zhai family, so she listened to her daughter and cut all ties with the Zhai family. All she took was a small sum of money. By doing this, Liang Yongyu established a confident and daring personality in front of the media. She even boasted shamelessly in front of the media. I hate money the most. I simply wanted to know if there was true love between the rich and the powerful. But I lost the gamble. From now on, I will enter the film industry with all my assets. I feel that a woman should have her own career. So the first thing she did after entering the film industry was announce that she was going to film The Ant Queen's Special Death. As soon as this news was released, everyone saw through her intentions. Fuck, this is another person trying to ride on the popularity. Why doesn't this piece of trash just call it The Ant Queen too? Although we won't watch a piece of trash like this, the thought of it lowering the average standard makes me angry. Can't the government give the exclusive rights to sci-fi films to Tongning? We can't let these evildoers wreak havoc on the world. But no matter how much the public ridiculed her, Liang Yongyu got the popularity that she wanted. She knew that she had offended the Zhai family, so she often appeared in front of the cameras to ensure her safety and prevent the Zhai family from seeking revenge. Plus, her film was called The Ant Queen's Special Death. The word Ant Queen wasn't exclusive to Tongning, so it wasn't a problem for her to use it. What made the public think that Liang Yongyu was smart was the fact that she directly hired a top-notch celebrity. After all, she had a lot of money. That way, it was possible for her to compete with Tongning. But the public couldn't help but sigh at how unlucky Tongning was to provoke such a shameless idiot. Everyone wanted to suck a mouthful of her blood. First there was the fake Ma Weiwei. Now there was Liang Yongyu. Just because Tongning didn't want to take her daughter in. Did she plan to continue clinging to her? Should we change the name of the Ant Queen? Long Jie was disgusted by the name of Liang Yongyu's film. She didn't want to have anything to do with it. Why should we change it? Besides, even if you want to change it, Liang Yongyu can easily find a similar one. Do you think you can avoid it? Tongning laughed. I know, I'm just disgusted. Everyone has already acknowledged your sci-fi film, but I hope the Beijing government can do something about it. Mo Ting had already thought of this. Although he couldn't request for the film's name to be changed, he wanted the entire world to know about Tongning's film. That way, even if Liang Yongyu tried to scam others, the public wouldn't have to worry about being deceived. Especially not in the international market. I've decided to establish a Tangkor film agency that will be responsible for the PR of your film. I want to leave a Tangkor logo on the promotional materials for The Ant Queen. That way, even if someone tries to leech off of your film, the public will simply label it as a rubbish film, and it will have nothing to do with us. As for Liang Yongyu, let's keep her for now. I want to see how effective this is. In other words, Mo Ting wanted Liang Yongyu to linger on for a few more days. Chapter 11-13. Wouldn't that be too high profile? As soon as Tongning thought about how her name would appear on the big screen in the future, she felt it was a little too high profile. You've created a film that shocked everyone and everyone loves it. So no matter what you do, it won't be too much. Mo Ting pulled Tongning into his embrace and breathed in her peaceful scent. From now on, Liang Yongyu won't be the only one. There will be even more imitations that will ride on the popularity and consumers. This is what we need to be prepared for. In that case, I'll listen to you. Tongning nodded. After being tortured by Liang Yongyu for a few days, the Zhai family's horizons had been opened. They never imagined that there would be someone more shameless than them. After being asked for $1 billion, Second Master Zhai appeared in front of Tongning and Mo Ting again. He looked extremely dispirited. Now that all the power in the family had been handed over to his siblings, he was just a carefree person that spent his days wandering around. But because he had nothing better to do, Zhai Lintian couldn't let go of his hatred towards Liang Yongyu. So today he paid a visit to Mo Ting and Tongning. But to his surprise, Tongning and Mo Ting appeared extremely calm. They didn't seem to care about Liang Yongyu's provocation at all. President Mo, Mrs. Mo, you sure are magnanimous. Even after being stepped on by Liang Yongyu, you're not angry at all. I'm impressed. There's no need to get angry over something like that. Tongning replied. By the way, if the Zhai family didn't value men over women, things wouldn't have ended up like this. So, Second Master Zhai, you shouldn't feel wrong that you've ended up in this situation. After hearing Tongning's words, Zhai Lintian lowered his head and laughed. I admit that I was wrong. That's why I'm currently being punished. But, what about Liang Yongyu? I've long heard that Mrs. Mo is meticulous and wise. So, I'd like to learn how to push someone beyond redemption. Tongning understood the hidden meaning behind Zhai Lintian's words, so she remained silent for a few seconds. She then lifted her head and looked at the man in his office and replied, Second Master Zhai, if you could keep your composure, things wouldn't have ended up like this. I've already learned my lesson. I hope Mrs. Mo can point me in the right direction. Don't worry, regardless of success or failure, I, Zhai Lintian, will not drag you down. Tongning shook her head and said to Zhai Lintian, If you want me to help you, it's not impossible. But, I have a condition. Speak. I don't want to see a situation where men are superior to women happen to you again. Otherwise, I wouldn't help someone with a bad track record, Tongning said to Zhai Lintian. Zhai Lintian took a deep drag on his cigarette and nodded. I promise you. Second, don't hurt people or kill them. If you want to deal with a person, you can't make her truly afraid by using force. I'm fine with that as well. Seeing that Zhai Lintian had agreed to both conditions, Tongning finally got to the point. Liang Yongyu is now brave enough to step all over me. She no longer has anyone in her eyes. But there's another reason why she keeps appearing on camera. She's afraid that the Zhai family will seek revenge. The more your Zhai family acts this way, the more you will be used by her. Thus, tell everyone in the Zhai family not to act blindly without thinking. In that case, what should we do? Step out and apologize. Donate money and make up for it. We need to let everyone know that you've realized your mistake and thank Liang Yongyu for teaching you a lesson. Let's wish her a bright future. After a series of PR actions like this, the Zhai family's image will be half recovered. At least, you'll be able to admit your mistake and make up for it. Plus, if Liang Yongyu decides to extort money from you in the future, you'll be able to step out and cry to her. This is the best solution for the Zhai family right now. Second, if you want to make Liang Yongyu sad, it's actually very easy. Liang Yongyu is currently riding on my popularity and has invested a lot of energy into her new film. She even hired a lot of top celebrities and spent a lot of money on it. All you need to do is help her hype up her new film and make her the #1 celebrity in the world. You can use the reverse psychology of the audience to your advantage and make her feel bad for a while. In our industry, this is called overpraising her to death. Right now, she's simply taking advantage of the slap you gave her to become famous. But her popularity will eventually die down. If you want to make her lose both her body and money, she'll be beyond redemption. Of course, while the Zhai family is trying to clear their name, you can keep an eye on the expert that helped Liang Yongyu. It's best if you have evidence. That way, Liang Yongyu's days of suffering will come even faster. After hearing what Tongning had to say, Zhai Lintian couldn't help but laugh in admiration. As expected, the rumors are indeed impressive. Mrs. Mo is indeed an expert. I've never taken the initiative to treat someone like this. But, I will return the favor. Let me warn you, if the Zhai family isn't sincere in their apology, then I will take the initiative to explain everything to the media. Don't worry. With a role model like you, I'm happy to have a daughter. Thank you for today, President Mo and Mrs. Mo. Tongning shook her head at Zhai Lintian, gesturing that he didn't need to be polite. After all, on a certain level, she and Zhai Lintian did indeed have a common enemy. But she wasn't going to use someone else to do her dirty work. After all, everything she told Zhai Lintian was to help the Zhai family. As for her and Liang Yongyu, they were going to be dealt with separately. Those that dared to step on her and climb up the ladder had to pay the price. Liang Yongyu's film was indeed very popular. Although the majority of the people were scolded, there were still a few top fans that spoke up for their idol. She hasn't even started filming yet she already knows that her film is terrible. Are you guys prophetic? My idol's acting is so good, there's no way her film would be worse than Tongning's. How is she leeching off Tongning's popularity? It's not like the title, Queen Ant, only belongs to her. What could she do against this group of people? Afterwards, Hairui officially announced the establishment of Tongning's studio. In other words, from now on, all of Tongning's films would have a logo that belonged to her. This was equivalent to giving her films a label and a mark. This is good. From now on, when people see this logo, they will know that it's produced by Tongning. It'll be more obvious than before. Hairui sure is fast. But I guess they were forced to do this by the pirated version. This way, Tongning's films will be easier to recognize. From now on, people will only recognize this logo. President Mo is too smart. He's amazing. I don't want to watch any of those disgusting and rubbish films. Let's not even talk about it. Let's go and find out who the producer is. This was equivalent to giving Tongning's films a perfect identity system. After all, a logo was unique and would be prosecuted for infringement. Chapter 11:14. Liang Yongyu wanted to ride on the popularity of the Ant Queen, so she threw a lot of money at it. But Tongning's mission was to make her lose everything. All she was doing now was selling her image. But what was the fate of any artist who didn't show any real talent when it came to selling their image? Either his persona was ruined, or he himself was ruined. But no matter what she did, she shouldn't have used Tongning as a stepping stone. Otherwise, she would be digging her own grave. Are you trying to sell your persona? For the sake of her daughter, she didn't want to bow down to her status as the wife of a wealthy family. Her backbone was selling like hotcakes. But don't forget, when Liang Yongyu abandoned her daughter, Mo Ting asked Lu Che to retrieve the surveillance footage from the theater. Lu Che also had information on the second time Liang Yongyu abandoned her daughter. Since that was the case, why should he be polite? Of course, Lu Che couldn't expose the two videos from Hai Rui or Tongning's point of view, so he pretended to be a bystander. At first, he simply posted a short message. I really don't understand how you guys could be tricked by Liang Yongyu. When she threw away her child, she wasn't worried about his life at all. I was an eyewitness at the theater's parking lot. Originally, I didn't want to say anything, but now that I see Liang Yongyu doing so well, I'm a little jealous. It turns out, a public persona can be sold in this way. Liang Yongyu and a bunch of other defenders came over to ask for a hammer. Wasn't it popular now to ask for a hammer and get a hammer? In that case, Lu Che would also follow the trend. So, Lu Che decided to release a video of Liang Yongyu placing her daughter beside Mo Ting's car in the dead of winter. In such a cold environment, Liang Yongyu put down the child and left without a trace of hesitation. This caused a lot of mothers to be disgusted. Forgive me for being blunt, but she's a bitch. She actually left her child in the snow. My heart aches just looking at her. She's obviously trying to extort money. What can't Liang Yongyu do? Yet, they insisted on placing it next to President Mo's car. Wasn't this clearly implicating the couple? And there were a bunch of people praising her for being brave enough to love and hate? It makes me want to poke my own eyes out. Afterwards, President Mo and Tongning saved the child. Look at the video. Tongning is so kind. How dare you step on my Ning? This kind of trash doesn't deserve it. I can't believe such a disgusting woman has fans. My worldview has been refreshed. Meanwhile, scandals about Liang Yongyu continued to be exposed to the public. Meanwhile, Liang Yongyu was under a lot of pressure. After all, even though she managed to get past the Zhai family by using Tongning as a stepping stone, she wasn't doing well in the industry. Because Tongning wanted to let her know that she would continue to suffer from the backlash of this incident. Afterwards, Liang Yongyu came up with a new plan to distract the public. She decided to expose a photo of Tongning attending her wedding with her two sons. They tried to use Tongning's twins to distract the public's attention. Of course, she didn't just put up a photo. She hired a fortune teller to read Zichen and Zishi's fortunes. When it came to Zishi, it wasn't too bad. After all, Zishi was destined to be a general and had a bright future ahead of him. But when it came to Zichen, it was said that he was the bane of his family and was a wastrel. The Mo family and Tang family would be dragged down to their deaths by this child. So, the best solution was to find a way for this child to get rid of the demon. And such fortune-telling content had actually become a hot topic. Plenty of people looked down on the fortune teller. You're using someone's children as a scam. Why don't you calculate how long you have left to live? It's rare to see photos of Tongning's children. She simply took them to a wedding. How could she be cursed by such an evil person? Children. It was obvious who was behind this. But Tongning never expected that Liang Yongyu would directly step on her bottom line. How dare she use Zishi and Zishi as a shield? As Long Jie sat beside Tongning and noticed the expression on her face, she felt a chill down her spine. It was rare for her to see Tongning with such an expression. She had always been calm and collected. Yet this time it was her own sons that were being used as a scam. As soon as this news was released, I immediately gave Lu Che a phone call and told him to remove it from the search rankings. I also told him to delete all the photos of the two young masters. Luckily, it hasn't affected too much. Tongning, what do you plan to do? You're pregnant, you should go home first, Tongning said in a cold tone. But Long Jie understood. After all, the children and Mo Ting were Tongning's bottom line, yet Liang Yongyu had stepped on it. Meanwhile, the atmosphere in Mo Ting's office wasn't good either. I don't care what method you use, I want Liang Yongyu to be completely blacklisted. Tell everyone to go against Hai Rui. President, are you going to do it the hard way? I don't care if it's soft or hard, I just want Liang Yongyu's name to disappear from Beijing forever. Mo Ting said coldly. Investigate the person behind her. I don't care who's giving her advice, do as you see fit. If that person's life is too easy, you won't be as relaxed. I understand, President. This was the first time Mo Ting had told him to notify everyone in the industry to ban Liang Yongyu. If anyone dared to use Liang Yongyu or work with her, they would be going against Hai Rui. As soon as the news was released, everyone in the industry immediately stopped working with Liang Yongyu. This time, Lu Che had spoken to the media. Hai Rui was going to do it the hard way. Even if Liang Yongyu cried and complained, she wouldn't receive any exposure. Of course, Liang Yongyu never expected things to turn out this way. It seemed, she had no idea that she had already been blacklisted by the industry. Even though Liang Yongyu tried her best to throw money at her film, all the top celebrities had to withdraw from it. After all, who would dare to pluck the hair from the tiger's mouth? A story began to spread within the industry. When someone heard that Liang Yongyu had been blacklisted, they laughed at Hai Rui for being petty and were immediately kicked out of the company. This time, Hai Rui's attitude was obviously fast and ruthless. The next day, Liang Yongyu received all sorts of phone calls telling her to stop working with Liang Yongyu. That's when she realized that the situation had gotten serious. With this thought, Liang Yongyu gave the director she was working with a phone call. But the director was afraid that someone would find out that Liang Yongyu was on the phone. It's best you don't call me again. I don't want to lose my job. Hai Rui has publicly blacklisted you and everyone is on their own. You better take care of yourself. Hai Rui had blacklisted her? Because of her, she exposed Tang Ning's child? Was that necessary? Liang Yongyu's lips curved upwards coldly. So she immediately gave her advisor a phone call. I've been blacklisted by Hai Rui. What should I do? Come to my house and we'll discuss it, Liang Yongyu's advisor said in a deep voice. Chapter 11:15. The Zhai family quickly published an apology in the newspapers. Whether it was to the public or to Liang Yongyu, the Zhai family showed their sincerity. In order to atone for their wrongdoings, they decided to donate $100 million to the impoverished area. Seeing the Zhai family spend so much money to apologize, the public only had two thoughts. If the Zhai family weren't stupid, then they were truly regretting their wrongdoings. This method effectively restored the Zhai family's image in the public's hearts. At least, they were no longer being pressured like they were previously. As for their relationship with Liang Yongyu, they had already done their best. But the Zhai family still thanked Liang Yongyu for waking them up. After looking at the Zhai family's article, Tang Ning turned to help Mo Zichen put on his clothes. It was easy to wake the Zhai family up, but who could wake Liang Yongyu up? It wasn't that she didn't know that Mo Ting had blacklisted Liang Yongyu. But that wasn't enough. Liang Yongyu now had $1 billion on her. Even if she couldn't continue in the entertainment industry, she wouldn't be afraid. If it was just a grudge between adults, it wouldn't be a big deal. But Liang Yongyu actually used her two children? So, she had to put an end to this matter. Late at night, inside an apartment in Beijing, Liang Yongyu rang the doorbell and was led into the living room by a man. No one followed you, right? The man asked as he poured a glass of wine for Liang Yongyu. He was dressed in a white shirt and a limited edition watch. No, Liang Yongyu said as she put down her handbag. I just don't know what to do right now. I can't do anything in the entertainment industry. You still have money. What are you afraid of? The man sat down on the sofa and handed her a glass of wine. Why don't we partner up and start a company? You can't stay in the entertainment industry forever. You'll have to leave sooner or later. Now's the perfect time. I'm not cut out for business. Liang Yongyu immediately shook her head. You're not, but I am. I happen to have a project in my hands. You can have a look and consider investing in it. Chile, although you helped me get my $1 billion back, I don't like it when other people control my money. Liang Yongyu obviously didn't feel safe about her investment. She simply felt that it was a losing business. It's fine if you don't want to. I'm not forcing you. If I'm really doing this for your money, why would I help you for free? The man called Chile shrugged. I won't force you to do anything you don't want to do. The man's words successfully comforted Liang Yongyu. Forget it, as long as you're happy. However, you need to reduce the number of times you come here. After all, being caught by the media isn't a good thing. Liang Yongyu nodded. She enjoyed it very much when the man lowered his head. Not for any other reason, but because this man called Chi Lei was not only a lawyer, he was also extremely handsome. Any woman that got close to him would have their imaginations run wild. Especially since he had helped Liang Yongyu so much. As soon as Liang Yongyu heard this, she tried to move closer to the man. That's not what I meant. I just hope that you can be careful. I'm doing this for your own good. Look, you're spending money so lavishly now. How long can 1 billion last for? I just want you to have a guarantee. The man took the opportunity to seduce Liang Yongyu. If you really want to be with me, you need to accept my male chauvinism. If you don't want me to interfere with your life, we can stop contacting each other from now on. Chi Lei, during my most difficult time, you helped me. You are the person that treats me the best in this world. Of course, the woman couldn't resist this kind of temptation. Under Chi Lei's constant pestering, she finally agreed to open a law firm with $300 million. After all, Chi Lei's job was to be a lawyer. Liang Yongyu had no idea that Lu Che had sent someone to follow her. The next morning, Lu Che placed the information on Liang Yongyu's strategist on Mo Ting's desk. This Chi Lei and Liang Yongyu have worked together a few times before and have gradually become familiar with each other. Perhaps he knows that Liang Yongyu is a big fish, so he put in a lot of effort to gain her trust. In fact, he even helped Liang Yongyu secure a $1 billion breakup fee. That's why Liang Yongyu trusts this lawyer. According to our investigation, this lawyer has a total of 3 girlfriends. He's a complete playboy. All the money he scammed from Liang Yongyu, he used it on his other 2 women. He's really something. In other words, we don't need to do anything for Chi Lei to help us deal with Liang Yongyu. As for Liang Yongyu, don't alert her. Contact Chi Lei's other 2 girlfriends and help them get to know each other's identities. If they're willing, ask them to cooperate and put on a show for Chi Lei to scam all of Liang Yongyu's money. Do you think Liang Yongyu will turn to the Zhai family after losing all her money? How would I know? A woman's heart is like a needle at the bottom of the ocean. Lu Che laughed. No matter what, they had everything they needed to deal with Liang Yongyu. All they needed to do was add fuel to the fire. Although the photo incident didn't cause any harm to the kids, Mo Ting still wanted Liang Yongyu to pay the price. But to Tongning's and Mo Ting's surprise, Second Master Zhai gave them another phone call. This time, he arranged to meet them at a 5-star hotel. From the sound of his voice, it seemed his previous gloominess had been swept away. Even his tone was cheerful. Tongning and Mo Ting arrived on time. But as they arrived, Zhai Lintian arrived with a classy socialite. Mo Ting and Tongning looked at each other. They didn't understand what Zhai Lintian was trying to say. Let me introduce you to Miss Jiang Ruolin. Her father is a government official and her mother is in the medical industry, Zhai Lintian said as he sat down. After speaking, Zhai Lintian sat down and explained. Back when Mrs. Mo asked me to make a public apology, it was indeed very effective. Now the Zhai family has stabilized in many aspects. As for Ruolin, after seeing me make a public apology, she contacted me and said she was willing to give it a try. After a few days together, I've realized that I've fallen in love again. After hearing Zhai Lintian's words, Mo Ting and Tongning looked at each other. In the past, I didn't believe in love at first sight. But after everything we've been through, I find it unbelievable that someone is still willing to hold my hand at a time like this. I will only continue to be with you if you've truly changed. Otherwise. Chapter 11:16. Don't worry, in order to live up to your kindness, I will definitely grow up. The couple began to flirt with each other. Sometimes, the world was a strange place. Some people just happened to find love at the wrong turn. Even though their relationship had just started and they weren't ready yet. If a prodigal son could turn over a new leaf, it would be a great story. That's why I'm really thankful to the 2 of you. My parents have already said that from now on, as long as the 2 of you say the word, we will do our best to help you with anything you need. You're not going to dwell on Liang Yongyu's matter anymore? Tongning asked. I'm not going to dwell on it anymore. I hurt her and she hurt me, so we're even. I don't think I need to waste my time on a stranger, Zhai Lintian replied. I've already spoken to Ruo Lin, and she supports me in coming out. Men indeed only know how to grow when they're in trouble. Let's not talk about this anymore. Tell me, how do you expect me to repay you? You have money and we don't lack money. Tongning laughed. Since you've turned over a new leaf, you should live a good life and stop thinking about useless things. You don't need to repay me. I only have one condition. When Liang Yongyu comes back looking for you, you must not give her any response. Will she come back looking for me? Zhai Lintian asked as he held onto Jiang Ruolin's hand. Definitely. But, you need to act like a rich kid. Don't be soft-hearted and fall into trouble again. Don't worry, if that day ever comes, I will tell Ruolin as soon as possible. This meal was one of the more relaxing ones. No one expected that Zhai Lintian would suddenly find love. But this was also good. Sometimes one couldn't help but admit that marriage was about matching the social status of the two families. Otherwise, it would be extremely tiring to interact with them. It wasn't about finances, it was more about having the same values. After the meal, although Tongning expressed that she didn't want any thanks, the Zhai family were generous enough to hand over all their resources to Hai Rui. They also announced that they would be retreating from the entertainment industry and focusing on their own industry. Tongning's help wasn't in vain. Madam President, I've arranged a wonderful show. Do you want to go and watch? No need. Take us home. Taking care of the kids is more important, Tongning replied. All right, I'll tell you the results later. As for the good show that Lu Che was referring to, he was referring to Chi Lei's other two girlfriends discovering each other's existence. Of course, they were both decent women, so when they found out that their boyfriends were cheating on them, they were naturally upset and angry. At this time, Lu Che arranged for someone to meet the two women. Actually, your boyfriend has a third woman. She's the model that recently appeared on the newspapers, Liang Yongyu. The two of them widened their eyes. In order to swindle $1 billion from Liang Yongyu, Chi Lei is currently in a heated relationship with her. If you guys are willing to teach him a lesson, please contact me. Of these two women, one was a doctor, and the other was a sales champion. They were both strong women. Being teased like this, they naturally couldn't take it lying down. As for Lu Che, he had done his research on the two girls and knew how stubborn they were. That was why he was so honest with them. The next morning, the two girls contacted Lu Che's people and asked what they should do. It's simple. Pretend to be pregnant and trick him into giving you money to get married. After all, it's ill-gotten money, so you can take it for yourselves. Don't worry, in the end, I will definitely destroy Chi Lei's reputation and ensure your safety. So, over the next few days, Chi Lei was quite troubled. His doctor's girlfriend was now pregnant, so she asked him what he should do. As she was his first love, deep down he wanted to marry her. But he had only managed to swindle $300 million out of Liang Yongyu's money. Since the two of them already had the fruit of their love, there was no way he was going to let his doctor's girlfriend get an abortion. So he decided to settle the matter with Liang Yongyu as soon as possible. After all, he was disgusted by a broken pair of used shoes. But Liang Yongyu wasn't going to give it to him so easily. It seemed he needed to think of a solution that would satisfy both sides. Liang Yongyu never imagined that the amount of money she was carrying would attract the attention of a wolf. After all, she had just given him $300 million, so she naturally hid the rest of her money. But even so, Chi Lei wasn't completely helpless. For example, that night, he deliberately prepared a candlelit dinner to get Liang Yongyu drunk and trick her into signing the documents. She thought that Chi Lei would like her, protect her. If a person's heart wasn't in the right place, then the people she met in the same industry were all ants. How could they possibly be sincere? Chi Lei, you've been so good to me. I didn't suffer for nothing. Yongyu, you're drunk. Chi Lei whispered beside Liang Yongyu's ear. I'm not drunk. I can still drink. By the way, Yongyu, stop drinking for now. I still need your signature on the company documents. Sign it for me first. Chi Lei took the opportunity to mention that he still needed her signature to set up a company. Afterwards, Chi Lei pulled out the documents and read them out, page by page, to Liang Yongyu. Stop reading, I trust you. Where do you want me to sign? Liang Yongyu's cheeks were completely red as she leaned against the table and looked at the documents. Here, Chi Lei said as he pointed to where Liang Yongyu was signing. I'll sign it, Liang Yongyu said as she grabbed a pen. Her eyes were hazy from being drunk. She had no idea what she was doing. But she had no idea that there was a hidden layer in the documents. And the place where she actually signed was a check. Chi Lei watched as Liang Yongyu pressed her fingerprint onto the check, before he put it away without a change in expression. After Liang Yongyu fell asleep, he immediately called the bank to make an appointment to transfer the funds. Liang Yongyu was actually easy to trick, whether it was when she was with the Zhai family or now. But from now on, they would have to say their goodbyes. The funniest thing was, after Liang Yongyu woke up, she had no idea that her money had already been transferred. Everything was but a pipe dream, and she didn't even realize that her misfortune was about to arrive. She was still too young. She thought she was lucky and could change her fate. But if she didn't walk the right path, she wouldn't have a good ending. All that was left was for her to discover what had happened. Who knew how surprised she would be? Chapter 11:17. Liang Yongyu was tricked, but so was Chi Lei. Although he transferred Liang Yongyu's money, he transferred it to his girlfriend's account in batches. Of course, it wasn't all of it, but it was most of it. But what he didn't know was, as soon as he transferred the dirty money to his girlfriend's account, she directly donated it to the hospital. The reason why the doctor's girlfriend put on this act was because she could fake her pregnancy without any flaws. But this was just one time to teach the jerk a lesson. On the surface, the couple agreed on a wedding date and went to register their marriage the day after. But Chi Lei's girlfriend was already prepared to retreat. During this time, apart from keeping an eye on the progress of the matter, Tongning also made preparations to return superstar media to normal. Long Jia was about to give birth to her second child, but Lin Qian was finally back in control. Meanwhile, Tongning was no longer involved with superstar media's management, because she needed to move forward with Qiao Sen's film dream. Unfortunately, Qiao Sen was gone, and she couldn't find a like-minded partner that could help her with her sci-fi film. Especially since she didn't know who to direct, the Ant Queen too. It was at this juncture that an artist cut his wrist. To be exact, it wasn't an artist, it was an antisocial art director. Because of his passion for artistic films, he ended up losing all of his family's savings and starved his daughter to death. After hearing the news, Tongning never expected that someone would starve to death in an environment like this. However, the director did not succeed in killing himself. Instead, he was saved by his assistant. This matter caused a sensation for a period of time, causing people to sigh endlessly. Tongning watched all of the director's films. He was depressed, heavy, and a little crazy. It was like he was the epitome of his personality. Seeing this, an idea suddenly came to Tongning's mind. Meanwhile, a few days later, Liang Yongyu finally realized something was wrong with her bank account. She had simply gone to the beauty salon for a simple facial, only to find out that she had no money left. She thought there was an error with the credit card system, so she tried a few times and finally failed to pay. Afterwards, Liang Yongyu called the bank to confirm, and was told that the money had already been transferred by check. At this moment, Liang Yongyu suddenly thought of Chi Lei and the signature from the other night. Her originally muddled mind suddenly cleared up. Therefore, she immediately called Chi Lei. Chi Lei, where are you? Listening to her tone, Chi Lei had already judged that she knew that the money had been transferred, so he answered her. I'm out of town on a business trip. What happened to my money? However, what answered her next was an endless busy tone. Liang Yongyu finally felt her heart burn with anxiety, so she immediately rushed over to Chi Lei's home to look for him. But at that moment, the woman at home was Chi Lei's doctor fiancé. Who are you looking for? Who are you? Liang Yongyu asked. I'm Chi Lei's fiancé. The doctor's girlfriend purposely put on an act. Are you at the wrong place? That's impossible. If you're his fiancé, then who am I to him? Liang Yongyu pushed the doctor aside and entered Chi Lei's home to search for him. You don't have to look for him, he's not home. His girlfriend crossed her arms and said, I said I wanted to eat pineapple cake from the south of the city, so he went to buy it. Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. What's so hard to understand? Liang Yongyu, everyone knows about your situation. You gave birth to 2 daughters and even miscarried one. You're despised by the rich and trampled on by the world. What makes you think that Qi Lei would be willing to be with you? Plus, I already have Qi Lei's child, and he's proposed to me. Did you really think that he would be with a used woman? Liang Yongyu's girlfriend laughed in disdain. Oh, by the way, he also transferred the $1 billion you gave me. As soon as Liang Yongyu heard the word $1 billion, she immediately ran over and grabbed onto the doctor's girlfriend's shoulder and shook her. Give me back my money. Why should I give it back to you? Didn't you extort money from the Zhai family? I've already donated all of it to the hospital. If your dream of being rich is gone, then your dream of being a rich woman should also be shattered. Liang Yongyu took a few steps back and shook the doctor even harder. The 2 women began to fight. But a moment later, Qi Lei walked in with the pineapple cake. As soon as he saw his beloved woman being ravaged, he immediately ran over and pushed Liang Yongyu away. Crazy woman, what are you trying to do? Qi Lei, why are you doing this to me? You're the one who threw yourself at me. Qi Lei yelled as he protected his girlfriend. Isn't it too easy to deal with a gold digger like you who's willing to do anything to marry into a rich family? I'm simply enforcing justice on behalf of the heavens. You're shameless. Liang Yongyu screamed as she sat on the floor. Give me back my money. I don't know what you're talking about. If you don't leave, I'm going to call security. In the end, Liang Yongyu was kicked out of Qi Lei's home by the security. At this moment, Liang Yongyu began to panic. She had nothing left. Not even money. $1 billion. How could she give it to Qi Lei so easily? In fact, she even made a wedding dress for someone else. But this wasn't the worst part. The worst part was, when the reporters heard about it, they immediately rushed to Qi Lei's home and took photos of Liang Yongyu crying on the floor. Aya, isn't this a rich woman with $1 billion? Why is she lying on the floor? Stop talking nonsense, hurry and take a few more photos. Her position is so seductive. I heard that the Zhai family took advantage of the breakup fee. How pitiful is this? Leave, all of you leave. Stop taking photos, stop taking photos. All you know is how to bully me. Liang Yongyu's pitiful cries filled the screen. What awaited her was an endless amount of suffering. Of course, Qi Lei didn't know that the reporters downstairs were called by his girlfriend. He was just curious. Of course, that night, Qi Lei's girlfriend prepared all the evidence of Qi Lei colluding with Liang Yongyu and how he cheated on the 3 of them. So while Qi Lei was asleep, she copied all of his contacts and posted a video of the drama she had prepared. Afterwards, she packed her things and left. Where was she going? She was going overseas, far away from this troublesome place. That night, Qi Lei slept especially soundly. But when he woke up the next day, he was shocked by the countless missed calls that he sat up in bed. Chapter 11:18. The first person to call was Qi Lei's mother. The old woman seemed to have a heavy heart as she asked, Lei, did you do everything that was exposed online? Mom, what's wrong? Look at the news yourself. Right now, he and Liang Yongyu each occupied half of the entertainment headlines. Liang Yongyu teamed up with her lover to scam $1 billion. Retribution. Her reputation is ruined. High EQ scumbag. Could the beautiful doctor be Tang Ning's apprentice? When Qi Lei saw this, he carefully looked at the content on the internet. His mind exploded. Not long after, he received a phone call from his company to fire him. At the same time, his family and friends all called him to scold him. Not only did the doctor's girlfriend reveal that Qi Lei and Liang Yongyu colluded to extort money from the Zhai family, but she also revealed that he had an affair with Liang Yongyu and used his position for personal gain. Of course, Qi Lei and Liang Yongyu were now infamous, and the public began to sympathize with the Zhai family. They also admired the doctor's courage in donating the $1 billion to the hospital for cancer research. Now that things had gotten to this point, was there any way to turn things around? No. It seemed he would have to live the rest of his life with his tail between his legs. He would have to wear a mask every day in fear of being recognized. With this thought, Chile laughed self-mockingly. He originally thought he was smart, but it turned out he was nothing more than a toy in someone else's hands. Who took who seriously? No one knew that Emoting and Tongning were the masterminds behind the incident. So this was the best way to repay Liang Yongyu. As of now, Liang Yongyu has been starving for almost 4 days. She has no money on her and the bank hasn't approved her mortgage. So she's having a hard time. According to our observations, Liang Yongyu has been loitering around the Zhai family home for the past few days. I'm afraid she won't be able to survive until tomorrow. After hearing Lu Che's report, Emoting and Tongning looked at each other. A few seconds later, Tongning said, "In that case, tell Zhai Lintian to remember what he promised me." "Don't worry, madam." Liang Yongyu never expected that Zhai Lintian would have a new relationship so soon. She thought that if she went home and begged, the Zhai family would give her a way out. So she found a good opportunity to intercept Zhai Lintian's Maybach. At this moment, the car screeched to a stop. Zhai Lintian stuck his head out and saw that it was Liang Yongyu. He immediately opened the door and walked over to her. "It's you." Liang Yongyu was so emotional that she directly knelt in front of Zhai Lintian and cried, "Lintian, I know I was wrong. Please forgive me. I'm penniless right now and I haven't eaten in days. For the sake of our past friendship, I beg you, give me a way out. Speaking of which, I need to make 2 things clear to you. Firstly, the Zhai family is indeed patriarchal. However, the Zhai family didn't intentionally torture our eldest daughter to death. Although the Zhai family is hateful, they aren't cruel enough to kill their own flesh and blood. Secondly, I deserve to die for what I did to you in the past. So in addition to the harm you've done to me, we're even. Thirdly, for the sake of our past friendship, I advise you to leave the Zhai family." "No, it's not like that. Lintian, I can give birth to another son for you. I definitely can. No need. Have some self-respect," Zhai Lintian said before he turned around and looked at the woman in the front passenger seat. When Jiang Roland saw this, she also got out of the car and walked over to Liang Yongyu. "Although you're pitiful, I'm still happy to see you struggling at death's door. Lintian did wrong you in the past and treated you like a tool. But he also paid a heavy price for it. So, no one wants to look back at the past. Miss Liang, don't act like you're poor in front of us. You have arms and legs, and can live on your own. There's no need to put on a show in front of us. In this world, not everything can come and go as you please. I'm going to make things clear to you today. I hope we never see each other again." After speaking, Jiang Ruolin walked over to Zhai Lintian and hooked onto his arm. "Let's go home. Zhai Lintian, aren't you afraid that I'll expose everything you've done?" "Go ahead." Zhai Lintian did not look back as he led Jiang Ruolin home. No matter how much Liang Yongyu cried, he ignored her. "Why did you provoke her?" Jiang Ruolin asked Zhai Lintian afterwards. "Aren't you afraid that she'll expose herself?" "Because I want to live my life in peace," Zhai Lintian replied. But, even if Liang Yongyu cried and exposed herself, no one would believe her. This was Liang Yongyu's ending. After watching a series of events, the pregnant Long Jia felt comfortable and her mood brightened up. These bitches should be punished like this. They're materialistic and evil. Because of these people, the world is filled with filth. Liang Yongyu is just a drop in the ocean of the entertainment industry. In this industry, people chase after fame and fortune. Who doesn't have a plan behind their backs? Tongning replied as she looked at the news. Don't make it sound so scary. If there's someone like Liang Yongyu, there's bound to be someone like you. Long Jia winked at Tongning. By the way, I've been here for so long. Yet you're so distracted when you're talking to me. What are you looking at? I'm looking at someone's life story. Are you trying to help a new artist? Of course not. I'm trying to save a lonely soul. Tongning sighed. After the director cut his wrist, Tongning explained her thoughts to Mo Ting. She wanted to contact the director and see if he could become the next Qiao senator, so she decided to try her best to understand the director's life story. He was indeed talented, but not many people understood him. They simply felt that his ideas were strange. In this aspect, he was similar to Qiao Senator, that's why Tongning chose him. However, she wasn't confident that the director would like sci-fi like Qiao Senator, so all she could do was give it a try. Everything was going well for her, but she was missing a director with a soul. This was the direction that she wanted to work towards. You always have strange ideas. But it's because of your ideas that you've become who you are today, Long Jie sighed. Tell me, what kind of earth-shattering thing are you planning to do this time? I don't want to do anything earth-shattering. I simply want to retain a talent, Tongning replied. You're currently pregnant, so I'll leave Superstar Media in Lin Qian's hands for now. I'll return after your baby is born. Okay, Long Jie's emotions were complicated when Superstar Media was mentioned. You're pregnant and I don't need your help with anything. From now on you should go home and get some rest. Tongning had decided to make a move on the hospital's director. Chapter 11-19. The director's name was Bai Juni. Just like his name, he was arrogant and unruly. But how was he supposed to survive in the entertainment industry where the strong preyed on the weak? Tongning also found out that not only did he owe money, his parents were also like vampires, constantly squeezing him dry and leaving all the good stuff for his brother. So while their oldest son was in the hospital on the brink of death, the Bai family's parents refused to pay for their youngest son's education to extend their oldest son's life. By the time Tongning arrived at the hospital, the debt collectors were causing a ruckus in the hospital room. A few burly men were dragging the weak Bai Juni while his parents and brother stood to one side and watched coldly. You said you had 3 days, but 3 days have already passed, and you still don't have the money. The debt collectors saw Bai Juni's expression and were afraid that he would die, so they turned their attention to his family. But the Bai family's parents quickly left with their youngest son. He has nothing to do with us. If you want to pay, then go look for him. Mother Bai said as she pointed at Bai Juni. Tongning stood silently outside the door for a minute, before she gestured for her bodyguards to step forward. The 3 debt collectors weren't professional thugs, so they were quickly restrained by Tongning's bodyguards. At this time, Tongning and Lu Che entered the hospital room. Who are you? Isn't she the famous celebrity? One of the Bai family's henchmen pointed at Tongning as he recognized her. Tongning did not answer the debt collector's question. Instead she asked, how much does he owe you? No more, no less. $1. 5 million. Don't help me pay him back, I can't pay him back. After all, I'm all alone right now. If I'm full, my family won't go hungry, Bai Juni said as he sat on the floor. Of course, if you want to do something good, I won't stop you. Lu Che, pay him according to what he originally owed. Don't give him a single cent that he shouldn't have. Tongning said as she turned to Lu Che. Did these loan sharks really think it was that easy to rob money? Okay, madam. After speaking, Lu Che signaled the 2 bodyguards to lead the 3 debt collectors out of the room. At this time, Tongning called a nurse over to help Bai Juni onto the bed. She is that superstar, I was right. As soon as Tongning appeared, Bai Juni was indeed surprised. It was as if he had seen a ghost. How could such a big Buddha suddenly appear in my small temple? Let's talk about your matter later. Let me talk about something else first. After speaking, Tongning turned to look at her parents. From the looks of it, the 2 elders don't seem to be willing to lend a helping hand to your son. Because of him, we have to hide everywhere. I've had enough of this kind of life. Father Bai snorted. I don't want you to be responsible for his debts, but the things he gave to the Bai family before, including money, houses and cars, can you return them all at once? As a family, aren't you ashamed that you can't share the pain and happiness? The younger son is a son, but the older son isn't? Don't spout nonsense. Old man, don't provoke her. She's very powerful. If she exposes our matter, we won't be able to keep our chastity. Mother Bai immediately tried to persuade her husband. Let's take Xiao Bao and leave. Once we step out of this door, when Bai Juni becomes successful, I hope the 2 of you won't turn back. When that time comes, I'm sorry he won't recognize you. Let's go, let's go. Tongning sent the Bai family away with a few words before she turned to look at Bai Junyi. At this time, Bai Junyi looked into Tongning's eyes with a meaningful smile. Superstar Tang, I don't understand why you're helping me. I'm just a useless person. By the way, don't think that you can save me. I still owe you a lot. You don't need to see everyone wearing a thick suit of armor. Don't think that just because you're a genius that others can't understand you. If you put yourself in such a lonely position, it's no wonder your family despises you. Tongning helped Bai Junyi, so of course, she also took the opportunity to suppress him. Haha. Is that why you're lecturing me again? Do you want to be my director? Do you want to film the Ant Queen too? Tongning asked straightforwardly. Did I hear that right? You're a director that makes sci-fi films, yet you want me, an artsy director, to direct a sci-fi film? Have you lost your mind? So what if it's a sci-fi film? So what if it's an artsy film? It's simply two different ways of expressing yourself. Don't you think that your darkness, depression, madness, and eeriness can all be combined into a sci-fi film? Tongning asked. Bai Junyi, let me be honest with you. The artsy film that you want in the entertainment industry has no room for survival. Only my sci-fi films can preserve your own thoughts. Although Bai Junyi didn't want to admit it, he had watched The Ant Queen before. Tongning and Xiao Sen's films weren't like those that were tacky. Their films had soul. Apart from the fate of the characters, the sci-fi elements, including the Ant Queen, had their own unique charm that made people want to understand and explore. But he was no longer in the mood to make films. His daughter was dead and everything was ruined. What was the point of moving forward? So he directly said to Tongning, I think it's best that you don't try to stop me. Superstar Tang, I'm just a burden. Anyone that gets involved with me will be in trouble. For the sake of your own safety, you should stay away from me. I will never agree to your request. This man's personality was hard to understand and difficult to get along with. So Tongning did not expect to succeed on her first try. When a person's heart was dead, all that was left was disdain for the world. He was tired of everything in the world, so he didn't think there was any point in continuing to live. Tongning did not force him. She simply gave him her contact details and left. But Bai Junyi did not even look at her. He simply closed the door and laughed as he sat on the bed. All he wanted to do was die and no one could stop him. Madam, how did the discussion go? Hearing this, Tongning shook her head. I don't think I'll be able to deal with Goo Goo. There aren't many people that you can't deal with. There are actually a lot of things that I can't deal with, Tongning sighed. After all, she was still made of flesh and blood, so there was a limit to what she could do. Lu Che, get someone to keep an eye on Bai Junyi. I'm afraid he might do something stupid again. Yes, madam. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.